It's the new year, but WB's cover-up of Walter Hamada's Ray Fisher investigation indiscretions are positively old Hollywood. Also, where does Wonder Woman 1984 sit at the box office? Where does Patty Jenkins sit with Warner Brothers? And whatever happened to that Green Arrow and the Canaries show? All that and more after these words from corporate overlords who are well beyond our control.
Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
Are you ready for a rewarding career in the electrical industry? Quality Electric of the Coastal Carolinas, QECC, is looking for qualified electricians and electrical helpers to join its Charleston team. QECC offers guaranteed full-time hours, make up to $30 per hour with possible performance bonuses and career growth opportunities. Enjoy benefits like health insurance, dental and vision coverage, 401k plans, and more. If you're a motivated, experienced electrician, this job is for you. QECC is an equal opportunity employer. For all job inquiries, send email to hr@qeccinc.com.
Welcome into DC On Screen episode 623. This is the podcast where we talk about the DC Comics multiverse on film and television, give honest opinions on projects upcoming and past, and believe that every version of a property is valid, even if we don't dig it ourselves. If it's been released, it is fair game. So beware of spoilers, and welcome to the show. I'm David C. Robertson, and this, the man who once used a giant dildo as a teddy bear while sleeping in a stranger's yard, Jason Goss.
Shit happens, dude. I mean, it was warm.
Well, sure. I just didn't understand why you had to swing it at those cops when they showed up. Like,
they tried to take it from me.
Well, that's not right.
The warmth could have been from previous use, but I'm not here to judge that. I needed it for what I needed it for.
Well, you didn't need it to be vibrating.
That actually helped the warmth.
Oh, I figured.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I laid it on my back for a while between the scapulas. It's actually really refreshing.
Scapulas. I'm always thankful that you choose to roll with me on that kind of shit.
One episode, I'm just gonna be like, "Go fuck yourself." Moving on.
So, folks, Happy New Year. This is the first episode of the new year
for us. I know it already seems like a long year, but hey, we got a long road ahead of us. Just tuck in.
I saw that news broke today that they're looking at they want Nicole Kidman and Javier Bardem to play Lucy and Ricky in a Lucille Ball Desi Arnaz biopic. And I saw someone just retweeted that and said, 2021, let me rest.
Okay, I'm kind of into Nicole Kidman. That could make sense. I don't know who the Javier guy is off the top of my head.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, I recognize the name, but I can't place it. I'm terrible at that. What you got? Give me a quick IMDb.
Yeah.
Dude from Stuff.
He's from Stuff.
I'd know his face if I saw that. Is it Javier Bardem?
Yeah.
Watch, I'm going to search
Country
Javier,
for Old
it's going to be like, yep. Yeah, first thing because it's trending now is Javier.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, that
guy.
Work.
Yeah. No Country for Old Men. Yeah. Skyfall. All that shit. Yeah.
That could work. That dude I sometimes mistake for Dean Morgan.
Oh, Jeffrey Dean. Yeah, I can see that. He does remind me of Jeffrey.
Every now and then at a glance, I'm like, was it him or the other guy?
Yeah. Like, which one has three names? Oh,
hey,
man.
I assure you, they both have three names. You just don't know about the one.
Right.
It's not even a good assurance. You gotta just skip that shit. Some ladies on a shit ton of Dilaudid. Javier, I don't feel like filling out the middle. Boredom. Here, roll with it. Well, maybe you didn't fill out the middle. Go fuck yourself. Go get the ice. I haven't had water in 72 hours. Go.
Well, if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. This is what the show is. We'll get to some news here in just a second. But, I do want to thank the patrons.
Of course.
Wonderful, glowing, sparkling patrons. They are the sparkling grape juice of my year. I don't know what I'm saying.
So often this goes off the rails for you very quickly.
Yes, it does. $1 if you want to join their ranks gets you every episode ad free. $5 a month gets you that plus whatever else we decide to put up. Which we put up a lot of stuff last month, so don't hold your breath. No.
So we're done for about a year.
Yeah. If you don't want to deal with Patreon, or if you already do and want to help us out more, like some very generous people have, you can go to dconscreen.com and click the donate button. And there's also a merch store if you want to get some swag for your support. And it is linked on dconscreen.com right next to the donate button. Mm-hmm. It says store. And
I would suggest that our 2020 output on Patreon was a little bit lower than previous.
Really?
I think so, maybe. But I would be willing to suggest here before this committee with no standing and no ability to vote on the topic that we might, try to keep that a little bit up. Keep that a little bit up from what it was today or in 2020.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the best you could possibly hope for that committee. From this committee is a maybe.
Sure. I mean, the
maybe
thing
a heartfelt
is,
maybe.
The thing about it is we do put up the ad-free episodes every week.
Mm-hmm.
I think only twice has Effie, upholders of stealing the remote, messaged me and said, "You bastard.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this not up on Patreon yet?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah.
Shit, sorry.
Yeah, I know.
She knows there's like 72 steps to uploading a podcast. You miss one every once in a while. Sorry, human error. It happens.
Human error. And I'm subhuman, so that's still doing pretty good.
Which is human for just trying your goddamn best.
But yeah, if you don't want to spend any money on us, but still want to support us, 5-star written reviews on Apple Podcasts are always a huge help. Sharing our show whenever we post it on social media is a huge help. Just randomly telling people online, hey, we listen to these guys and it's not the worst damn thing ever. Mm-hmm. Huge help.
Yeah, mentions really do help every once in a while.
Anyway.
Everything goes a long way.
It does. And we appreciate all of it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like we go to bed at night thinking those wonderful people, those wonderful, beautiful people.
That's my thought right before I think, I'm not sure if I'm going to wake up.
Usually I think something along the lines of, man, I love the people who like put our share our shit and, oh God, no, I think I left the back door open.
Yeah.
and then I have to get up and go check and make sure that I locked it, and then I have to like pee for a fourth time.
Yeah, all the cats are accounted for. Oh shit, I forgot one.
There's only one.
No, just the one. Okay.
All the cats.
I thought you had two at some point. No, that's been.
Oh, yeah, we did.
That has
one died.
Sorry.
Thanks for reminding.
I'm so sorry.
Me of
that hit me late. My bad.
Poor guy. Anyway, let's talk about some news.
This episode will be in the memory of that cat.
Oh no, it won't.
That cat didn't give a fuck. Moving on. Not two hot dams.
So did you have you heard about this Patty Jenkins on WTF with Mark Maron situation?
I saw that it existed and really thought about listening and just I already kind of knew the highlight.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't go back and listen to the whole episode at all, but I ran across it.
So she did talk briefly about how WB made her change the ending,
mm-hmm.
which is funny because it is my biggest issue with the movie, with the first movie.
Mm.
And she said, well, Marin did tell her the effects worked for him. He said, the light show was good, as he puts it. And she says, I'm glad that was the only thing that the studio forced my hand on, that it was not supposed to be. It was supposed to be like, he never turns into Ares. The whole point of the movie was that you get there to the big monster and he's just standing there looking at you and says, I didn't do anything. And the studio kept saying, okay, we'll let you do that and then we'll see. And then I could feel it creeping up. And at the last minute, they were like, you know what? We want Ares to show up. And I was like, damn it, we don't have time to do that now. And they're like, nope, you got to do it.
Nope, make it happen.
And so it pisses me off now because sometimes I read the reviews and the only thing that unanimously gets some shit about was those in pyrotechnics. That like DC always does this. And the truth was, it was them. The studio did make me do that. And it wasn't right.
In all fairness, though, that doesn't mean that the critique's wrong, because DC did make you do that.
That's true. But she said that's okay. She did admit that she later came to terms and loved what they did for the movie's end. But just she didn't have enough time to make it look as good as she wanted it to. And on record, as a person who did not like Wonder Woman 1984, as a person who has given Patty Jenkins some shit for what he didn't like, I really like what she just proposed. I really like the idea of there's no big bad. It's just Ares going, I didn't do anything. This was all them.
I mean, I do like it because it's a nice twist. The only thing I don't like about it is that historically, like even out of DC canon, Ares is super arrogant about like, it was me. It wouldn't feel super in character, but it also just kind of would crack me up to see him just smirking and be like, wasn't even me this time. They just did this shit.
Yeah, no, like that's what I like about it. Is like someone as arrogant as Ares is still willing to go like, no, this wasn't me.
I was just riding a wave, man. I didn't even.
And like, what could be more crushing to Wonder Woman than the concept that it wasn't even like some kind of divine intervention? No, this is just their nature.
I mean, after she goes through this whole personal journey about finding the wealth of generosity and worthwhile nature of humanity, kind of thing. No, they're just fucked. I didn't even have to try. Sorry.
Yeah,
like, and you see those horses over there in the pasture? You see how they're fighting? That's me. I did that. the bombs? I didn't even have to touch that. They just did this shit all by themselves. Sorry.
And I know what this fan base generally feels about Joss Whedon. I share those thoughts. But one of my favorite bits, and because we can talk about David Greenwald, we can blame it on him if we want to. One of my favorite bits from Angel is when he goes to Wolfram and Hart, the big evil lawyer company, the big law firm, and he demands to, be taken down, and they take him down. Like Holland Mathers takes him into the elevator, and the elevator is just never ending, and they're going to hell. And so you can talk to the partners, presumably. And then the elevator just opens up and it's the street. And he's like, hell's already here. Like, shit! Like, I love that. Like, we didn't have to do anything. We didn't have to do anything. So yeah.
It's a good bit. It's a good notion. I would not have mind. The thing I would have liked to have seen in that in particular is just Diana reeling from the realization that she is hoping for and trying to inspire more in these people than they probably deserve. That would have been cool.
Yeah. And deciding ultimately that it's still worth it. But
I mean, given the choices, I'll throw my head in that way and, come what may.
The last couple of weeks has been really eye-opening for me in terms of like me realizing what kind of Wonder Woman I really want to see. And I'll tell you this, I think you can inspire hope while at the same time having Wonder Woman behead some people.
Not opposed to this at all.
And I'll mention it briefly, but there was a Zack Snyder posted a placeholder image of Diana holding heads, like severed heads during the Crimean War. It was a placeholder image for what Patty would eventually come in to do, and once they had put that story into place. And Zack Snyder had a hand in that story, so I'm not just going like screw Patty Jenkins or anything. Yeah. But that Crimean War image with her holding those freaking severed heads it was so cool.
Oh, it's a good shot, man.
And there was some interview, and I didn't track it down or anything, but there's an interview where Patty Jenkins says, women don't want to see that. And I was curious. I have basically, since I read her saying that, I have gone to every woman I know and shown them that picture. I'm like, you saw Wonder Woman, right? Yeah.
You've check been this doing out. Some personalized research.
This was Zach's original idea about it. And then like every woman, from my wife, my sisters, women I work with, my aunt, my grandmother, everyone has said, oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, if she's a warrior, why wouldn't she lop off some heads?
Yeah, dude, that's the thing is like, historically in the comics, it's historically, like the thing that, how the comics work, the thing that rises to the top is the thing that we think is historically the most relevant, and that keeps going. You know what I mean? So overall,
I know how the comics work. No, how did they work, Jason?
quick recap of how comics work. What's
I've
popular
never read
stays
a comic
popular. What's not
before.
popular is only not canon because it didn't become popular.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like she's this like beacon of compassion and hope, right? And inspiration, and all the things that you could possibly pin to that idea.
Yeah.
But then when shit gets real, she will fuck you up. She
Yeah.
will absolutely fuck you up.
It reminds me of the 10th Doctor. It reminds me of Tennant's Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
He's full of compassion, full of hope for everyone. Always about like no one dies today, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But in his first outing, he's trying to figure out what kind of man he is. He saves the dude from the ledge. The guy still tries to kill him, and he throws the tangerine and hits the button to make the platform fall. The guy falls to his death, and he goes, "No second chances. That's what kind of man I am." Like, that's what I feel about Wonder Woman. Like, yes,
I do love that scene.
that shit.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, she's really good at that, especially in the current age that I've got just a ton of weeklies on right now that all have her involved. Like the Scott Snyder wrap up to Metal, it deeply involves her personal philosophy and just her being able to crawl out of this fucking despair and hopelessness into like finding just one sliver of humanity and hope to hold on to and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, when she's at her strongest, still finding compassion to be the way to go and all that. Like, it's all deeply inspiring and you're like crying reading it. And then the next page, she'll like gut somebody and you're like, yeah, you had it coming.
Yeah.
Bitch fucked up. I mean,
Yeah. No, I mean,
Wonder Woman offered you a hand, dude. You could just done it. But no, you had to keep going. She taught you.
Yep.
And the whole time you're rooting for the character.
I'm a little bit like, let's, okay, fine. Let Patty do Wonder Woman 3, but then let's do like Wonder Woman 3000 and show her in the far future directed by George Miller, and she's got those heads. No,
Yeah.
And honestly, like that picture did excite me more than anything I've seen in either Wonder Woman movie. I was just like, oh, that's so cool.
No, I'm still taken by certain scenes in both. I mean,
Sure. No Man's Land sequence is like fantastic.
So
just
good. Balls out good, man. I mean,
It's so good.
She's taking all the fire. Yeah, just awe inspiring. Like, it's hard. Like, it's one of those scenes where you're like, I'm just gonna watch like a minute of it, and then 10 minutes later, you're like, oh my god, I'm still watching this.
Yeah, no, there was a lot to like in the first Wonder Woman movie, I thought, honestly.
Yeah, I think you had some like overall conceptual problems with the second that were just never like. I think there's even stuff in the second that you'd probably like just in its bubble, but contextually, like within the framing of the movie that they gave it, I don't think it's ever going to work for you.
Yeah, it's just not.
And that's fine.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as the show goes on. We've got some feedback, but
it is philosophically troubled for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
As our last episode might have pointed out.
Yep. Let's actually talk about some Wonder Woman 84.
Sure.
It's done 32.6 million at the domestic box office. It's done 99.5 million internationally, which brings it to 132.1 million worldwide, which is not terrible in the middle of this pandemic.
No, I mean,
even though all of the headlines, look, it has dropped, into the rotten territory on Rotten Tomatoes. I know we don't get put a lot of, just because I didn't like the movie doesn't mean we're going to suddenly start putting stock in that. But,
oh no, I'll fight you. I'll fight you to the mat on the Rotten Tomatoes thing. If ever you went that way, I will be here.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's there. It's there. And because of that, which is where I'm going, because of that, now, you know how like a movie comes out and then it slowly drops off at the box office?
Sure.
Because of the Rotten Tomatoes score, I feel like now like every site is going, Wonder Woman drops again. Like,
oh yeah, no, that's my biggest problem with the Rotten Tomatoes thing is it's not like it's some just innocuous site over there doing its own thing invalidly, but it's a site that people report on, and like the story gets it's not just a multiplier on the story; it's an exponent. Like the story begets more of the story, and the next thing you know, people aren't watching it because the story. Like,
yeah, no, I mean, I fully endorse watching the thing, subscribing to HBO Max, concoct your own opinion of it. Don't just listen to me and say Dave doesn't like it, therefore I'm gonna hate it. Go and watch it, and then tell me you hate it. because it's real and you don't like it. But if you do like it, tell me why I'm wrong. Explain to me what my issues are. I know what some of my issues are as far as like, you know, why I dislike the movie. I've pretty much explained most of it. But anyway, the film broke records on HBO Max, which is awesome. You know, they said Andy Forsell. That's funny. That's a funny name. Andy Forsell.
Mm-hmm.
Vice President, Direct-to-Consumer Executive Vice President and General Manager at Warner Media, said Wonder Woman 84 broke records and exceeded our expectations across all of our key viewing and subscriber metrics in its first 24 hours on the service. And the interest and momentum we're seeing indicates that this will likely continue well beyond the weekend. During these very difficult times, it was nice to give families the option of enjoying this uplifting film at home where theater viewing wasn't an option. All right, uplifting. It wasn't uplifting for me. I'm sorry,
but
they're pushing that narrative so hard.
I mean, I get it, but there were points outside of your conceptual problems that were uplifting.
They tried.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, we'll talk about it later. There's a research firm out there claiming that this was via the Hollywood Reporter, said that the Wonder Woman sequel outstreamed both Hamilton and Soul, which would
be impressive if it actually outstreamed
really
Hamilton.
good news for HBO Max.
I mean, Soul too, but
yeah,
Hamilton was a giant event for Disney Plus.
Yeah, and they said that 23% of HBO Max's audience signed up for the streaming service to watch Wonder Woman 1984, and 14% of the audience plans to stick with the service for the foreseeable future, compared to 9% saying they will cancel the subscription soon. Neither Warner Media nor Disney have provided official streaming numbers for the services.
So that's 73% just went,
Yeah, well, you know, look, we've got 9% saying they're going to cancel their subscription soon. The numbers don't ever work like that. These people are contrarian, and they will forget they have the subscription, and they will not cancel.
Oh, I did that with 2 different Amazon services at some point where I was like, when did I even get this and for what?
Yeah. And that's why the subscription, and you can look it up. And it's all over the place. Subscription services are very popular. I will tell you this in complete transparency as a person who offers a subscription service on Patreon. The subscription services are important so that people will keep paying and not think about it. I'm serious. People forget that's why they do things like, free trial. And then, you know, notice that all of these services, when the trial is up, you start getting charged. You have to put in a credit card up front. It's so that you will get charged. You'll forget about it, and then like a year later, you'll look up and go, "Oh, I do have HBO Max. Oh, I do have Disney Plus. Okay, cool." Like that's just a thing that happens. And
there actually, have you seen there are services that will keep track of your subscriptions and tell you when your due date's coming up?
Really?
I forget the name. I've just seen a couple ads for them. Basically, the idea was, you know, hey, that thing that you forgot about and ended up being, you know, enlisted in. Yeah, we just kind of tell you before because they're not going to tell you.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. I've seen those advertised things that are like, by the way, you haven't watched anything on Netflix in like 2 years. Do you want us to keep paying for this?
Sure, you want to do that?
Oh, you'll probably. I mean, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So let's.
And see, ironically enough, you know, for me, like football ended yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I have no interest in anything else going forward as far as anything that's actually going to be on live cable television that I just have to watch right then.
Mm-hmm.
I will call my cable company this week and cancel. We don't have like cable as in we have cable boxes and stuff. We have streaming cable. I will call and cancel the shit out of that streaming this week.
Mm-hmm. But you're a hard ass. You're one of the few.
That shit's costing me like $70 a month. I didn't take hard ass. I'm just going to do that because it's bad money.
Oh, no, but I'm just saying most people aren't on top of that. Like,
it's also like, it's not even
I'm
like
giving you a compliment, Jason.
Well,
come on, man.
It. Sorry. I'm not trying to even be meticulous. It just, for me, is a major event. It's like, as soon as football's over, as soon as college football really is over, I'm out. I'm good. I don't need anything else streaming. It's a routine for me now. I'm gonna call this week and say, well, cancel that. Oh, you can't cancel until so-and-so? Okay, that's fine. We'll just go ahead and cancel it then. I'm I know the procedure. We're good here. Have a good day. Just bounce me as soon as you can. I'm going to call you in August and start this again. I'm not going to pay for a few months.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't. I couldn't be bothered to do. I don't care about sports though, so I'm not going to do that anyway.
I literally just have it so I can do live events. That's it.
That's impressive. There's got to be a better way.
There probably are better ways.
Maybe. Let's go to this thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Patty Jenkins was talking to Joe Blow about 84. Said apparently they did not want both of the opening scenes. She said she wouldn't have jammed it in there because of the success of the film, because it actually made the movie too long. We have 2 openings in our movie, and we would talk about that with the studio all the time. And they would say, you've got to cut them all in the 80s, or you got to cut the Amazons. And I was like, we can't cut either. I think you could have cut them all.
I would have been happy with cutting them all. Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Perfectly happy with them all going away.
I'm sorry. It's not even a scene where I dislike everything that happened. I'm just saying I would have been perfectly happy not seeing it. Like, the Amazon scene was a really strong opener, and then it went to that, and it didn't hit as hard for me at all.
Yeah, it just wasn't my cup of tea, man.
Yeah.
Apparently she only had one deleted scene that she actually, most of everything that she cut was just like extensions of bigger scenes. So, she just
Chris
trimmed
Pine showing off his
scenes.
penis. Gotcha.
Oh, good God. Why would she cut that? Yeah, no, apparently the only thing
you're right. That would have been another $30 million opening weekend. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, no, apparently the only thing she actually cut was Steve and Diana hailing a cab outside of the Natural History Museum. Like, oh, okay. Yes, that is the right thing to cut. Yes.
I'm trying to imagine how that scene could have been, I don't know, so engaging that I would be mad it's cut, but I'm having trouble.
Mm-hmm. No. So,
would reserve judgment until I'd seen it, but still.
Now, one of my primary issues with Wonder Woman 1984 was the body swap controversy, and it has become a controversy. People are talking about it. There are people not liking it. People think that it was rape, and I agree. But Dustin Phillipson on Twitter says, one, I'm linking the wiki to the body swap movie genre.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't see that Patty Jenkins was playing with that trope and even intentionally pointing out the problematic nature that all of these movies have to skirt around, then I think you need to re-examine a beloved 80s fantasy movie like Big with Tom Hanks, where he, as a 12-year-old in an adult body, has sex with an adult female, making her a statutory rapist by default. Also, 2, the movie implies that if you revoke your wish, then much of the impact of your wish is revoked. Hence, even the sex Diana had with the guy possessed with Steve may have actually been eradicated from the movie's fabric of reality. And then goes on to say, clarification for all, evil wishing stone is seducing people into evil. Barbara loses her humanity. Max loses his soul. Diana loses her powers / becomes seduced by a lie. If you can't see the movie as saying the swap is a problem, I think maybe you should rewatch. And Patty Jenkins retweeted this and said, ha ha ha, exactly.
I'm curious. I agree and disagree with points.
Yeah, the body swap genre is problematic. Of course, in Big, the woman who is by default a statutory rapist is also horrified when she finds out what's happened. She didn't know at the time.
Sure.
Now the body swap in of itself inside of the movie, even putting aside the ethical quandary, is inconsistent with the rest of the magic in the movie, which is already a problem for me. But yeah, I just think it was a bad call. It brought up feelings in me that I didn't appreciate, and I didn't really care for. I didn't care for Wonder Woman being in any form a rapist, even if she had, been seduced by an evil stone. Now, I mean, I've thought about this, looking at this, and it's like, you know what? If that was her intent, if her intention was to say, oh, the evil wishing stone is being seduced by the lie, it even made Wonder Woman engage in such problematic behavior, maybe this movie is a little more Zack Snyder and less Richard Donner than we all thought. But
I mean, I can get behind it being that they're engaging with a trope. Diana herself becomes a part of it.
A specifically 80s trope, too.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's not just an 80s trope, so I'm not giving them that.
Right. Yeah, that wasn't like a thing they had to do to make it 80s.
No, it wasn't just like, oh, remember, like, this wasn't shoulder pads. This was,
right.
Like, body swapping tropes have been around since, and I'm not exaggerating, the Greco-Roman era. So, like, trying to call it an 80s thing is like, either you're being really trying to be really clever, but not really. And also, a lot of films did it before. And, you know, fucking Matthew Perry was in like a Freaky Friday runoff bullshit movie. Like,
it was actually a pretty good movie. 17 again? That was actually pretty good.
Was it? Seriously?
It actually was. It was enjoyable. It was.
Deeply weird that was actually somehow enjoyable for you.
It is deeply weird, but, Thomas Lennon's in it. And
which
he's
never
fantastic.
hurts anything.
He's fantastic. But Zac Efron actually does a really good job of acting like like Matthew Perry. Even though
weird thing I believe that's
that
not a popular opinion is that Zac Efron actually does a lot better job than we give him credit for a lot of the time.
Oh, but, no, he does a pretty good job. He's solid.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I'm not going on that hill alone.
Yeah.
So
but surprisingly, 17 again is not a terrible film. You should check it out if you get a wild hair up your ass one day.
No, I have no such. I have plenty of other ones, and they are occupying the space. My problem is more like, and my problem isn't whether it's justifiable, because I feel like there are parts where the film explains why it is, and there are parts where, maybe you're running down a trope and making some sort of meta statement about the trope that I guess was supposed to appear more obvious than it very much did to many people watching it.
Yeah.
And honest to God, there's just, I don't think there's a definitive answer for why that was a problem. My problem is more that you made it a fucking problem. I don't think it was a thing that had to be done. It could have been done a number of other ways. Mm-hmm. And they all would have made more sense, given the entire pantheon of gods you have to play with.
Yeah.
Or, just given the characters themselves. And I do kind of like the interpretation, for sure, that, it's a very flattering interpretation that Wonder Woman herself is even susceptible to this kind of monkey's paw and, chooses to fight back. And, that's, I think, just very short version, probably the best justification for that version or that part of the film. But it doesn't mean that the whole thing wasn't avoidable to begin with. Yeah. And it doesn't completely solve all the problems. And I do still maintain that, the fact that there's magic involved erases some of the problems.
I mean, the primary issue, the guy doesn't remember, but then you're just dealing with the Cosby situation. My primary issue,
well, Cosby or zombie.
Yeah, the issue,
or just magic.
To me,
it's any number of supernatural explanations for the behavior, but then there are a lot of questions even that brings up.
Yeah,
why did we even have this supernatural explanation in our storytelling? For thousands of years. Yeah, because people were a bit rapey, and we probably had to find some explanations for that shit.
Yeah, I found no reason, given the nature of the magic shit just appearing and disappearing at will, why Steve Trevor, according to any rules, the rules that actually weren't there for this magic, he had to be in some dude's body. Just doesn't make sense. It was just there to be problematic, apparently, according to Patty, and to, stick a wiry finger into the body swap genre and be like, see, you're problematic. But they don't address the problem in the movie. They don't ever go who was this guy? I wonder if he has a family. Hey, maybe we shouldn't use his body for our own pleasure.
Well, that would have involved a lot of other shots in the mirror and having to pay him more.
I know, right?
No, I don't think I'm ever going to completely agree that it's out and out rape, because the magic angle just brings so much into the fictional argument that I feel like there's just a lot of ways you could sidestep that argument. But I will always agree with you that it should never have been on the fucking table.
Yeah.
There are other ways you could have done this.
Yeah, so I'm just always going to have a problem with it. I'm sorry. They didn't make it enough of an issue, or even an issue at all. And I won't take anything away from Gal or Steve Trevor, Chris Pine. When they're saying goodbye and coming to terms with what they have to do, they did a really good job. And when she runs away and she renounces her wish and like screams. Like that was
That was a good scene.
phenomenal acting,
powerful.
and I felt it in my core.
Yeah.
And I was impressed that she made me feel so bad for a rapist.
She burned that monkey's paw.
But yeah, like, so, yeah, I'm just not gonna get around that one though. I'm sorry. And look,
The best I can tell you with Diana is like it never appeared to her that way.
Right? Yeah, I guess.
Like she knew, and she could suss it out, but it never like it's never like she was holding down some dude who just didn't want to be there, or like even somebody unconscious or something. Like it's not that straightforward either. Like it's a very gray area for sure. And the fact that magic is involved and that the monkey's paw effect is the center of the film makes it much grayer, frankly. Like there's a whole fucking portion of an ethics class probably available if you wanted to on this film.
And to be clear, anyone who feels like commenting this specific joke, I'm just going to warn you right now. I have already been blocking people who are like, oh, she can rape me. I've seen that so many times, and I've blocked every piece of shit who says it.
Yeah, sorry. That's just not an appropriate response at all.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Even if, she can use my body without... No, it's the same thing. You're gone.
That's just a massive misunderstanding of the sheer idea of consent. Or, frankly, those people who were like, who are in the camp of like, well, you can't rape a guy. Go fuck right the fuck off.
Oh yeah, no, I have
absolutely. Sorry, just unfollow us right now. Quit the episode. I'm done with you. Wait, I know I came to this group before with no standing and no right to vote, but I suggest we have such a thing now.
I'll tell you this: like one of,
and we vote you off.
There's a pretty big supporter of the Snyder Cut movement who has a show. It's on YouTube. He does a bunch of shit with people we know. He's had Zack Snyder on the show, and he said, he made a big statement about like, I don't consider it rape because society wouldn't consider it rape because it was a man. And as a man who's had a personal experience that would deeply contrast with that notion,
yeah,
he's fucking blocked, dude. Gone. Sorry, buddy.
Like the best interpretation for that I could come up with was that maybe he was just talking about literally the interpretation of it.
Yeah, I mean, he could have been being sarcastic or some shit. I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, it requires clarification on the best day, and on the worst day, it's just no. Sorry, that's not an acceptable thing.
Yeah, and it's not because he enjoyed the movie more than I did or anything stupid like that. It's just I'm not subscribing to that bullshit. Men can be raped too. Sorry.
Yep. Fact. Just an actual fact.
So Warner Brothers, and this seems almost, I mean, it would be ludicrous even if I liked the film and didn't feel as strongly as I did about it. But Warner Brothers has asked
I don't know
Academy,
what you have planned now, so I'm deeply curious about the contrast you're about to bring into this conversation.
Warner Brothers has asked Academy members to consider nominating Wonder Woman 1984 for Best Picture on behalf of several nominees, including producers Deborah and Zack Snyder, Best Director for Jenkins, Best Adapted Screenplay for Jenkins, Jeff Johns, and David Callahan. It was submitted for consideration in the acting categories for Gal Gadot as Best Actress, Kristen Wiig, Robin Wright, and Connie Nielsen for Best Supporting Actress, Chris Pine and Pedro Pascal for Best Supporting Actor, Best Cinematographer, Matthew Jensen, Best Film Editing, all the things, the things. Please consider us for best all the things. Like, even if the cornball Richard Donner shit wasn't in there, and even if the rape thing wasn't in there, no to all of those.
I'm not necessarily disagreeing. The one thing I'm disagreeing with is the fact that was a headline.
Yeah.
Now, and I propose this as a test. Someone who knows more than I do about the inner workings of this, please let me know. But
sure.
Does not anyone nominate their things for all the shit?
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, don't you just kind of nominate it just to get it in the hat?
But
see what happens?
I mean, maybe. I don't think everyone does because you have to actually, I think, pay.
Probably.
You have to pay to do that. But, you know.
But it's a studio and they can afford to, so.
I think the important thing, though, and the reason I included it, because I don't give a shit what the Oscars do. Mm-hmm. The reason I included here is because Warner Brothers is pushing so hard, pushing a certain narrative, a narrative that includes Jeff Johns. Very, very, very hard. Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, yeah, maybe you could, based on all the streaming kerfuffle regarding the Oscars, maybe they might actually get it because, you know, what else has come out?
I honestly, no joke. I'm sorry. Like you know what the Oscars should do at this point is just forego the whole we're film buffs thing because, you know, first of all, I think the veil has been lifted on that myth a while now. And second, you know, we all know you're just holding on for ratings. They're terrible. It's not good. It's not good as far as the rating situation. Like, don't get me wrong. It's still an event. It still qualifies as an event. Like, there's no chance they're going to cancel them. I don't think necessarily anytime soon. But the amount of people tuning in as a product of both the amount of people tuning in going down and the amount of people that give a fuck is going down with it. The Oscars at this point should just be like best quarantine video. You know, best video of a guy playing with his dog. Best video of a guy doing that thing off the bottom of skillets with the ping pong balls. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Best Rube Goldberg assembly developed in quarantine. We're just going to do YouTube videos from here out in 2020. Or I guess the 2021 Oscars.
I still wouldn't watch.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I would even if I watched, I'd be like, yeah, I saw it. No, I saw that one. No, I'm good, thank you.
No, I am curious. I would be a little more curious. I would be curious to know what the very important people, the very sophisticated, important people of Hollywood thought was the best, you know, cat video.
Or even some of the more technical
things. I like
things,
Snickers turns on the faucet.
Best video editor goes to like somebody who did that thing where you just... what do they call the thing where you like jump up into a frame, but that frame was already there, and you pretend that thing was there, and you're jumping into it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I wish I remembered the term, but yeah, you like literally do like a click kill thing in the middle of the air, and that thing, you know, you just freeze frame that and leave it there somewhere. Freeze frame's a fucking old ass term. Anyway, you just like
you're showing your age.
That's just there. You jump into it. Like I get roughly how the process is done, but I have no fucking idea about the nuts and bolts.
Would it involve a green screen?
No. You can do this live, as far as I can tell. Because you basically just do a video of you doing a bunch of things, and then you just freeze frame a shot and leave it there. And then you just jump into the shot. Yeah, it's just I'm frustrated with myself for not having more information right now, and I feel like anyone listening is even more so.
Yeah,
so
no, it's
I'm just gonna bail on that.
Yeah. I feel like if I just saw an example of what you're talking about, I'd be like, oh, that's what he's talking about. Okay.
I'm going to
Here's
send
how
you
do
one.
it. Okay.
I'm going to, like, in 30 minutes, you're going to look at your phone and be like, oh, while we're talking about like TV news.
You think we're going to be at TV news in 30 minutes. That's cute.
Oh.
So yeah, they've already announced Wonder Woman 3's in the works with both Gal and Patty returning. Toby Emmerich via Variety said as fans around the world continue to embrace Diana Prince, driving the strong opening weekend performance of Wonder Woman 1984, we are excited to be able to continue her story with our real-life Wonder Women, Gal and Patty, who will return to conclude the long-planned theatrical trilogy. Notice they did not say Jeff Johns. Notice.
Yeah, there hasn't been like a huge announcement about Jeff Johns. I don't think that's how this is going to go. I never have thought that's how this was going to go, but he just gets mentioned less.
Yeah, except, you know, apparently for the Academy Awards. But I think that's keeping up appearances to some degree. Mm-hmm. But just in case. Patty has hinted that Cheetah might return, and that's why she left her story ambiguous in 1984.
Oh, ambiguous as shit. That was one of our problems.
Someone asked if she'll return, and she says, we'll just have to see, and then had like 3 winking emojis. Then during an interview, she said, I have my reasons for making Cheetah's story ambiguous at the end, and I think it's not clear her point of view on everything that just happened. I love that we wrap up Max's point of view and that you see the culmination of that storyline. I think it's so important. But the truth is there may or may not be more to come and reasons for that. It's complicated what goes on with Barbara. There was not an easy scene, even if the answer was one way or the other, even if it was that she did rescind her wish. Like, then what? She goes back to her normal life and now Diana is not there anymore. It would take time and it would be a big deal to try to culminate it one way or the other. So there were multiple reasons for doing it that way. And if it leaves you wanting more answers, there's nothing wrong with that. All right. This sounds like a cop-out more than anything.
I mean,
more than
yeah,
a hint.
like saying, well, we didn't answer your question and the point is to not answer your question is one thing, or saying like, well, the question would be really hard to answer, so we didn't answer it is also another thing that I feel like was expressed.
We didn't have time. So
Or like, well, what would have to happen is we'd have to shoot more footage and make a thing happen, and we didn't do that. Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
Look, a lot of considerations are made. You know, you can't shoot everything. You can't have everything you wanted.
Right.
I can deal with all that. It's not even my, like a big qualm for me. I wish there'd been like just a couple seconds somewhere of her kind of readjusting to normal life. If that makes sense. Like just a moment where she was back in, not the glasses. Just the glasses is I could give or take them, but just a moment where she was like back, like going into her office, trying to kind of reclaim her normal life, which honest to God would have taken what, 8-9 seconds of screen time?
Maybe.
Nothing. I mean, granted, that's a lot more time on the shooting side of it, for sure. Hours, half a day, who knows? Depending on like how you have to actually adjust it in scheduling. Get it. I get it. It's not that simple. I get it. But
no.
But just leaving her on a cliff, chilling, not
Looking
ideal.
upset.
Not
Yeah.
ideal for me. Not my favorite of all the possibilities, I think.
Right. No. Now, talking to Collider, Patty Jenkins did confirm that she'll be working on Wonder Woman 3, Rogue Squadron, and Cleopatra, and a TV show all at the same time.
I mean, look, I'm happy for her, but damn.
Yeah. She says,
She's gonna be busy.
I think they're all great, and I continue to push them along, and we have sort of plans for what will go first and try to organize multiple things, how multiple things can happen. She says, you can never do it in 1 year. You can never do a Star Wars movie in 1 year or a good Cleopatra in 1 year. I think each of those movies take 2 years probably. But I do think, as I even learned on the 2 Wonder Womans, I already had sold a limited TV series that I was in love with when they decided to move the Wonder Woman 1984 release date up. So suddenly it was happening on top of each other. And I was actually able to write a huge treatment and have a bunch of creative meetings and go off and do my show while pre-production was happening for Wonder Woman 1984. So there are lots of ways. Certainly until I'm on set shooting Star Wars, I could be developing all sorts of other things and pushing them forward. It is actually possible. So I think that's apparently how people do it. Do multiple things at one time, which I'm usually pretty singularly focused, but I'm getting better at this all the time. So, and I included that, not because I care, because I don't. But what I do care about is seeing all these jackasses online whining and complaining that whatever DC project is dead because one of the creators of it has decided to do something else for a minute.
Yeah, no.
And I'm thinking specifically more and most recently about Ava DuVernay, working on various TV projects because apparently she can't also be working on New Gods.
Yeah.
Just one more little like, hey, you're an idiot. Stop saying that.
I mean, while we're at it, Tom King hasn't actually like owned a pen in at least 11 months. Doesn't have a knife or a sharpener. He just looks at the pencils and in awe, wondering, what shall I do? How could I correct this situation?
So, there is a rumor from the Sun. I don't know how much I believe any of that shit, but
It's from the Sun. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm curious.
So, according to the Sun's sources, the filming process for The Batman is grueling, and grueling for Robert Pattinson, mostly as a result of director Matt Reeves' perfectionism, apparently. Says that Pattinson is doing upwards of 50 takes of a scene sometimes. He's in the bulky, hot Batman suit. Is leaving him and the crew exhausted. The source said filming has been a grueling process, especially for Robert, as Matt is such a perfectionist. He'll insist on doing scenes over and over again and get bogged down in the tiny detail. Sometimes it's like he doesn't know when to stop. Matt has done blockbusters before, but this is on another level. Batman is arguably the most popular superhero of all, and by the time the film is released, it will be the Dark Knight's first solo movie in 10 years. Warner Brothers can't afford for the fan base to be disappointed. No one is denying that this is a high-stakes production and that Matt is feeling the pressure to get it right. But Robert has had a tough time on these franchise movies before. He hated Twilight by the time it wrapped, and the last thing anyone wants is for him to become jaded. I am already preparing myself, even before this came out, I'm preparing myself for Robert Pattinson not coming back.
Oh, for sure. But I also love that you could have read everything you just did in like a positive light. As someone who's just super enthusiastic about how Matt Reeves was taking this seriously, like an Orson Welles level taking it seriously. Like Kubrick demanding 110 takes or whatever the fuck it was that's infamous now. Levels of just demanding perfection. We could just read it that way.
You could, but I wouldn't. Man, you don't want to overthink the soup, man.
A little bit.
When you overthink it, it's going to come out tasting like ass.
It's got to crack me up if we find out, no, he was right. There were 49 bad takes. He just didn't have it right, man.
Yeah. Now, there's another version of this.
Because, again, like, part of your instinct is to be like, yeah, Robert Pattinson's probably going to fuck off on this. Like, yeah, maybe he actually is just not doing a great job.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
I don't know if I believe it, but I'm just saying.
One of my favorite stories, I don't know how true it is. One of my favorite stories from the making of Star Trek VI is there's a scene where Captain Kirk, like the Klingon Empire has roughly 50 years of life left to it. They've had sort of a Chernobyl situation. A lithium moon has exploded. They're sending a peace envoy, and they want Kirk to be the olive branch. You know, he's been fighting Klingons all these years, and Kirk, you know, the Klingons killed his son. He's very prejudiced, and Spock says they're dying, and Kirk says, "Let them die." And there's a story where Nicholas Meyer, the director, has talked about, and he said it very diplomatically, but basically it boils down to this: Shatner was overacting so much that Meyer couldn't get like a serious take out of him. Like, Shatner thought it was a serious take, but everyone on the crew was just like, oh God. So Nicholas Meyer's, his solution was to do so many takes that Shatner literally just got tuckered out.
Oh yeah. So he gets just so tired. He's like, let him die. You know, it just barely shows up for it.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the one I wanted. Good job.
It was a fantastic take. It was the take they used. Yeah. He's just a little seething, but really understated. Let them die. Like, okay. Okay. It wasn't some Shakespearean, let them die, you know. But, and yeah, that might be what they're doing for Rob. I don't know.
And like behind the scenes, someone comes and gets him immediately and was like, he needs a nap, a bottle of water, and some orange slices.
Right.
In reverse order.
Anyway,
I had trouble imagining like Pattinson being just so stressed on set. I'm sorry, and I know this isn't. I didn't get to look up the origin of these photos. I just have seen some photos in the last week of Robert Pattinson like leading around a cow.
Oh.
He's just like in a cow pasture, and there's a cow, and the cow is like one of those cows that actually has the bell on the bottom, you know.
Yeah, and one of those cows.
Yeah, I mean, I have cows in the backyard. Not one of them motherfuckers has a bell. I would complain if they did.
Yeah, no, those belled cows are a cult, man. You can't trust those cows.
They're either in the Netherlands or Mississippi, lower Mississippi, as best I can tell.
Crooked letter.
Or where's Mississippi State from? Starkville, right? I think. So anyway, somewhere around that area, or like the area where we like mistakenly, stereotypically think that everyone wears wooden shoes. So,
oh, what?
That's my area thing.
Everyone mistakenly, stereotypically, but I don't know who's wearing wooden shoes?
I think it was a Dutch, like the Dutch boy with the thumb in the wall wearing the wooden shoes.
But like the sabot?
Yeah, that probably too. Is that the same thing?
I mean, I really just know actually I know it from Star Trek 6, weirdly enough. About the Dutch.
Love that this tied in.
I know.
Stupid way. Go for it.
No, like one of the Vulcan character, Valeris, explains that the Dutch workers, were unhappy with their working conditions, and they took their wooden shoes, sabot, and threw them into the machinery.
Naturally.
That's just where we get sabotage.
Ah, yes.
Which is the only reason I know that. It could have been made up for all I know. I mean, I doubt it, because Star Trek prides itself on having freaking alien characters knowing Earth's history better than anyone else.
I don't know the etymology of that word in the slightest. That could really be it. All I imagined was like it's the picture I saw was like Pattinson. He's leading some cow. I think the cow has the bell, and it's like deeply snowy, cold areas, and just Pattinson just looks like he's laughing his dick off while he's leading the cow around.
Okay, so now I believe Pattinson's on mushrooms.
I mean, I saw the cow. It wasn't just him.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, no.
What he found in the pasture before is not documented.
Right. No, we know what he found in the pasture before.
That cow was grass-fed, and he came at the right time after, I think, a rain. He might have found something. Mm-hmm. But, I'm sorry. The dissonance in my head was reconciling the whole, like, Pattinson's being asked for blah, 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 and then just thinking of him just frolicking in a farm in a pasture with a cow, thinking like...
The hours are grueling.
And it just looks like he's, like, leading the cow around. It looks like he's looking around like, oh, my God, can you believe I'm just leading this cow around? This is hilarious. Just living his best damn life, man.
Yeah. I'm like, that doesn't look very grueling to me. I mean, it would be to me because...
Oh, I would hate
like
both.
the outdoors.
Like, being asked for 50 takes in a leather suit sounds awful. And then also being in the kind of cold that I felt like I was looking at also sounds awful. Mm-hmm. I would literally have a moment where they were like, hey, just take some photos with this cow. And I'm like, this cow's cold. I'm cold. I'm from Alabama. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm going inside now. Go fuck yourself. Someone bring me whiskey.
Right.
Or everyone here
I hope
can
that's
go
in the
right
movie.
to hell.
Yeah. I hope Bruce Wayne is just tripping balls and leading a cow around a pasture in some scene. Be the best Batman movie ever.
Adam West would sure be proud.
Yeah, so, guys, about bringing Ben back.
We have a better idea. We're going to CGI Adam West as a rancher.
Uh-huh. Let's do some deep fake Adam West rancher.
Now, he suggested it, so don't get me wrong here.
He did.
This is approved.
We are referencing our own episode, DC Movies That Never Happened, Part 3, I believe it was.
I think it was 3. I'm not sure. I was out of my fucking mind the entire time. It took me a couple listens myself to understand what I'd actually heard.
Yeah. Jason was, to bring it full circle, laughing his dick off the entire episode. So
yeah, I lost capacity in one of my lungs several times.
Yeah. He lost years off of his life in
just
that
collapsed.
episode. All right. Should we...
You ever smile so hard your like eyes develop wrinkles?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
You ever do it in like, 90 seconds? Because I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I went in young and baby-faced, and then I laughed so hard that I came out grizzled and, slightly older.
Mm-hmm. I would disagree, but I hate to, do anything more than, or anything less than yes and, so. Yes, that is exactly what happened. And
we're moving on to the next bit.
Before, I think before we do, because this is going to be a longish area, and we've already hit like an hour. So let's just go ahead and do a break before we get into the WBT segment with Ray Fisher. I've decided to move that to the end of the movie segment because, good God.
That's fair.
Yeah. Let's hit that break up. Let's hit a break.
Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. Preg is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
All right, we are back from our break, and we've emptied our bladders, and some of us put our children to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us have started on a screwdriver,
Mm-hmm.
and perhaps gotten a little further than started.
Mm-hmm. Well into.
But let's
Nevertheless.
let's not make it obvious. Let's get to some of this WBT. Sorry, I said that when I said in my head, I told myself when I said WBT, I'm going to start going WBT.
Mm-hmm. Slurp.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a little bit of Dennis Miller.
That was my best.
Nobody knows what. I don't even know if he has a radio show anymore. I know he's like all like super conservative and stuff now. But you know,
I think even he stopped at some point.
oh, he's not really that conservative. He's really not.
He just seemed that
you know,
way at a certain point.
Well, to the hard left and the normal left, he was a little more right than he used to be, and therefore had gone off the rails.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He still made me laugh. He would still have Norm Macdonald on his radio show, and I would listen to that and
Sure.
laugh at them being dicks. So the New York Times on Sunday, December 27th, put out this article. Managing movie superheroes is about to get a lot more complicated. And it was very much a puff piece for Walter Hamada, the DC Films president. And they just really suck his dick in this thing, man. Like, he's overseeing a dizzying number of projects, part of a swarm of comics-based stories. So yeah. They even talk about Shazam and say that it was a smash hit. It wasn't.
No, I mean, no.
It was a moderate hit. I mean, it was not a hit. It made us money, and it made enough money to get a sequel, unlike Birds of Prey. But it was an end game. It wasn't, you know.
True. No, smash hit is a strong term.
It is a
Birds
strong
of Prey
term.
in context of the last couple weeks is, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not talking shit about Shazam or Birds of Prey here. I loved those films. I thought they should have made way more money than they did. And let's be honest, Shazam and both of them should have made a lot more than they did.
Yeah.
If they were marketed correctly, they would have made a lot more than they did. So, anyway, this is a puff piece. This is a negotiation tactic. This is him trying to stick around, and that's understandable, I guess.
Well, unfortunately, I don't think it's him trying to stick around. I think it's us being sold his position. Like,
I don't know. Like, sources close to us have said that AT&T is not happy with Hamada.
sure.
They've said that. Now, he's apparently had his contract extended to 2023, but
Not that long.
that's not that long. That could just really only be covering the things that he is currently developing.
Right.
So I don't know where that stands, but look, so this thing said, the most expensive DC movies up to 4 a year starting in 2022 are designed for release in theaters, says Hamada. And that would be 2 big ones in theaters and then 2 smaller, riskier movies, sort of like Batgirl and Static Shock, that will be exclusively on HBO Max. And what's weird is this article, which is clearly a puff piece, also goes out of its way to kind of shit on HBO Max. They refer to it as the fledgling streaming service owned by Warner Media. It feels like, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm being paranoid. It feels like, I feel like Rush Limbaugh just saying this. It feels like Warner Brothers is in a war with Warner Media. No, it does a little bit though. Now, it goes on to say, in addition, DC Films, which is part of Warner Brothers, will work with filmmakers to develop movie offshoots, TV series that will run on HBO Max and interconnect with their big screen endeavors. Hamada says, with every movie that we're looking at now, we're thinking, what's the potential Max spinoff? Which is in my opinion, gross and terrible way to look at things, but okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's a business. I get it.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I get it.
Yeah.
And it goes on to say, if you thought there was a glut of superheroes before, just wait. To make all the storylines work, DC Films will introduce movie audiences to a comics concept known as the multiverse. It's not a comics concept. It's a scientific theory. The Everett Wheeler... never mind. That's fine.
Never mind the actual history of the term.
Jesus,
but
help us. Jesus.
hold on. Saying
I feel
it's a
funny.
Comics
I know.
Concept is like... It's also saying like a concept that comics are perfectly familiar with. I also deal with that.
I also do really enjoy the idea of calling upon Jesus to help us understand the concept of a scientific theory. But,
I mean, that's endlessly glorious to me, personally. But,
I'm not saying the two can't intertwine. I'm not coming against anyone. I'm a man of faith myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that's true.
And we have many things we agree on, you and I.
Yeah, that's right.
And disagree on for fun little sidebars.
Yeah, they're maybe fun for you.
Anyway, there's lots to play with there. And it's not necessarily contradictory.
There are. Not necessarily contradictory, but I am a man outside of the box as far as faith is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in a lot of scientific concepts that a lot of Christians just can't wrap their head around. And I don't understand why they can't wrap their head around, because there's plenty of wiggle room. I think it's my geekdom, honestly, that tells me you can headcanon anything. And you can make it work. It's all about what's not there. That doesn't say that that's not there. Anyway.
Just means it could be there and you can't prove it necessarily one way or the other, and that's okay too.
Which is just really just overall, when you generalize it from a high level, it's just but
yeah, so much of religious philosophy is just like, I don't know, man.
So it says parallel worlds. This is how it's describing the comics concept known as the multiverse. Parallel worlds where different versions of the same character exist simultaneously. Coming up, for instance, Warner Brothers will have 2 different film sagas involving Batman, played by 2 different actors, running at the same time. Well, yeah, we already knew this. Whatever. I you know what? I'm honestly just happy this article didn't say they're stealing the concept from Marvel, who's doing the multiverse of madness. Seeing as how DC created the concept as far as comic books are concerned with the Flash of 2 worlds.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyway.
Just nice not to have the conversation hijacked.
It is nice in that regard. Yeah.
And yet it will be. But, it's fine.
But here we go again. The complicated plan involves a sharp increase in production. Last year, Warner Brothers made 2 live-action superhero movies, Joker and Shazam, in 2018. There was only Aquaman. All 3 were smash hits. That's where I'm not going to... I don't agree with Shazam. Aquaman and Joker, yes. We're talking about over $1 billion. Shazam, what did it hit? Like 300 million?
I think 450, I want to say.
Was it? God, that's better than I remembered. Cool. Still not a smash. Still, I wouldn't say. Like, it did better than Green Lantern. It did fine. It did enough to get a sequel, and I love Shazam. I do. I've got like 2 or 3 Zachary Levi Shazam action figures.
Yeah.
I really liked Shazam. I thought it was a solid movie. A joy.
We thought it should have done more at the time. It was...
Yes.
It was a product of its time as far as like releasing as a holiday film.
Mm-hmm.
And not quite being one.
Yeah.
And also being like a singular figure in DC that just doesn't have like a lot of... I mean, honestly, the average Batman or Superman fan doesn't know about Shazam.
No, and they
just
should.
On average. Everyone listening here obviously does. That will sound like blasphemy.
It's okay, you guys.
But if you asked, just as a test, and I'm curious, just anyone who thought that sounded insane, just go ask like your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, whatever. if they know about who Shazam even is. And then furthermore, just ask them if they know what the real name is without even suggesting that there is a real name that's vastly different.
Right.
No, they won't. Like the amount of people that know about Billy Batson, very different from even those who know about Shazam. And even those are smaller than the people that follow the regular DC universe.
I'll tell you this.
Just numbers here.
The best thing they could have done for that character, even, copyrights aside, was to rename him Shazam.
Yeah.
Because the only thing anyone knows about that character is that he screams Shazam.
Yeah.
The only time in pop culture he's ever been called Captain Marvel was literally an episode of The Andy Griffith Show where Gomer Pyle says that Captain Marvel couldn't have figured out something better than Barney had. And we all know what Gomer Pyle screams all the time. Shazam! And that's why. Nice. Because he reads Captain Marvel comics. He's called Shazam because that's what we know. Like, there's no better name for him. Solid. Captain Marvel's a terrible name. Terrible name for Shazam.
No, it made sense at the time. And to be fair, like, I feel like Barney has Fawcett comics.
Yeah.
Well, he's old school.
Gomer.
Oh, Gomer?
Yeah, it was Gomer.
Oh, yeah. No, he's definitely got Fawcett comics.
I mean, why? Because it's Gomer? It was the 60s. Of course it was Fawcett comics.
Shit, and that's what he would be in touch with at the time. Something 35 years before.
And Gomer would be reading some knockoff of Superman, too.
Oh, hell yeah.
Anyway, the complicated plan involves a sharp increase in production. I already read that. Mr. Hamada and Mr. Emmerich had two options: figure out how to make the various storylines and incarnations coexist or start over. The answer is the multiverse. Boiled down, it means that some characters, Wonder Woman as portrayed by Miss Gadot, for instance, will continue their adventures on Earth 1, while new incarnations, Mr. Pattinson as the Batman, will populate Earth 2. I love how they're like, Ms. Gadot, Mr. Pattinson. It's like, God, pull your head out of your own douche ass.
Sorry, that's a weird thing for you to object to.
It is, but it just annoyed me. I'm sorry.
I don't know why that annoys you.
Okay,
that
guys, gals,
super
whoever, whomever, if you feel me on that, please write in and tell Jason he's wrong. That's a douchey way of saying any damn thing. These are celebrities.
Like
they're not real
the
people.
Vernacular in general. You don't just say like, oh, Gal and Patty, they're super sad about the Zach thing, and
that's the thing about celebrities. If you use their first name, you're like name dropping it like you know them. If you say Mr. or Ms., or Mrs., it sounds like you're giving them too much
clout.
I was gonna say clout, but I didn't like it.
It's a real thing.
I know. You're giving them too much importance, I think.
Sure.
So, like, I don't know. Like, it's what I mean. They are real people, and you should treat them nicely online and stuff and not bully them and whatnot. But also, they're celebrities and they're not real people. So, I exist in a strange bubble where I don't believe that celebrities are real people. I'm not dicks to them because I recognize they're real people. But also, I'm like, it's okay if you just call them Robert Pattinson or, Pattinson. You don't have to put the Mr. I'm just weird. I'm a weird person.
I get it. I think like the normal version would be to subscribe to the whole like Mr. Pattinson or Mrs. Jenkins or whatever.
Maybe.
Version.
And I'm not saying this probably
like MLA format.
This probably would not be a conversation if I didn't have a screwdriver in me. So we'll just move on. The Flash, a film set for release in theaters in 2022, will link the two universes and feature two Batmans. I think it's be Batman, with Mr. Affleck returning as one and Michael Keaton returning as the other. And to complicate matters further, HBO Max gave Mr. Snyder more than $70 million to recut his Justice League and expand it with new footage. Mr. Snyder and Warner Brothers have clashed over his original vision, which the studio deemed overly grim, resulting in reshoots handled by a different actor, Joss Whedon. And then in parentheses, that didn't go well either. Zack Snyder's Justice League, now 4 hours long, will arrive in segments on HBO Max in March. They said, at least for now, And I saw a lot of people giving a lot of blowback to this article for this, for saying that it is a storytelling cul-de-sac. Mr. Snyder is not part of the new DC. For now, Mr. Snyder is not part of the new DC Films blueprint, with studio executives describing his HBO Max project as a storytelling cul-de-sac, a street that leads nowhere. But they did specify at least for now. Do you really think that's going to stay the same if Zack Snyder's Justice League is a smash hit? Jason.
Me?
Yes, you. My co-host. The man, half of the team who people clamor and download with ferocity to find out what their opinions might be. You, dear Jason.
Well, the objectionable part of me would like to say, I don't know.
We all,
The realistic part of me is, of course, like, the thing that stopped me from thinking that this was going to be a thing was that it wasn't a thing.
Right.
So now that it is a thing, and there are metrics and streaming numbers to actually back it, yeah, of course, if it actually does something, yeah, it's not speculation. If the numbers match, I think we'll get more.
Now,
if the numbers don't match, we won't. I do think it might be that simple, because now we're at a point where, holy shit, you're actually going to get to see the thing we all wanted to see for this time.
Yeah.
And
I feel like, and we don't know. I feel like just saying Snyder's bullshit is a cul-de-sac. It's not going anywhere. And having the New York Times say that in print, because you know what,
from the rhetoric from before.
Yeah. Do you know what resulted of that?
Yeah.
By the way, did you see the hashtag restore the Snyder Cut?
Yep.
Over 150,000 hashtags.
Yep.
Do you think that we're going to not have any more Snyder after Justice League?
Probably not.
I think there's a market for it. Like if it does well on HBO Max. Yeah, and we're looking at 150,000.
The market's there. It's just that it was a bunch of speculation before, and now, since it's actually going to be aired on a thing, and they have their own internal numbers. Yeah. If they don't live up to it, it's over, man. If they do live up to it, yeah, we maybe, like, you can go back to the table and bargain for stuff that was never an option before.
I agree. And we'll
we do
get
actually
more of
all
that.
have to stream this when it comes out, though. That
do.
Will be key.
We do. And there's some report out there that says that it's coming out on Blu-ray the same day. I say no chance, but whatever.
I think that's bullshit.
Physically, and even this, like I said, even now, this article says at least for now, it's not a part. It goes on to say the multiverse concept is worked on television, but it is a risky strategy for big screens. These movies need to attract the widest audience possible to justify their cost, and too much of a comic nerd sensibility can be a turnoff. That's an inflammatory.
Think whoever wrote those sentences can absolutely go climb off a fucking rope.
Yeah, this is some shit that Star Trek's been using since 1967. It's been in
the
fiction
nerds won't pay
since
attention.
The 1950s.
We're all here because we're paying attention.
Yeah, we're all here. And at no point does I've talked to people at work who know nothing about this shit. I'm like, no, Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton are going to be in the same movie as Batman, talking about The Flash. And they're like, oh, cool, like from different universes? I'm like, yes. And they're like, awesome. The multiverse concept is not so removed from the mainstream. Like, they're not just a bunch of adults sitting out there, like, jerking off and watching people get hit in the nuts like an Idiocracy. Yeah. Like, they actually do know about, some dramatic conceits. And, like, the multiverse is a concept that people know about.
Yeah. We're not actually as dumb as projected.
Not everyone, but, it's a thing.
Yeah, some. But overall, I think a lot of us have the idea and can move forward with it, and we'll be okay.
Yep. And it says new actors can take over a character. James Bond is the best example, but multiple Gotham spinning in theaters? Hamada says, I don't think anyone else has ever attempted this, but audiences are sophisticated enough to understand it. If we make good movies, they will go with it. Maybe. Probably. I think you're right. I don't necessarily want you in charge, but okay.
No, the Flash in the Pan thing's real too. Like, if you made 2 good movies out of nowhere where who the fuck cares was Batman? Just, I don't know, man. Just IMDb, random, any single character came up and said, that's going to be Batman. Okay, cool. If you have a good story arc for 2 movies and it doesn't fit into anything else, great. I don't care. You made a good couple movies. What are you gonna, like, it's fine. It doesn't have to fit into everything else, but it'd be great if it did.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be great, but, then again, if you don't like something, like, for instance, I don't like Wonder Woman 1984.
Sure.
It'd be great if that shit wasn't canon. Or if I could just say Wonder Woman 1984 happened, except for the rape. Cool, I'm on board with that. Yeah, it was some cheesy Donner shit in times, but I'm okay with that. Like, we can do Donner shit. I don't care. Like, there's room for it in the multiverse. I mean, you can kind of play with anything. And that's kind of what I like. You can choose what is canon. And even Snyder in recent interviews has said, you choose what is canon. So I'm okay with that for the most part. By the way, Ray Fisher said of this article, he retweeted this article and said, Walter Hamada is the most dangerous kind of enabler. His lies and WB's PR, WBPR's failed September 4th hit piece sought to undermine the very real issues of the Justice League investigation. I will not participate in any production associated with him. Now, let me ask you this, Jason. Does that sound like he's stepping down?
Not necessarily.
Okay. I'm just curious. I've heard some people say, because, later on, and I'll talk about it, Ray Fisher says, I didn't step down from anything. I've seen a lot of people say, you kind of did, buddy.
I mean, only with the assertion that Hamada was going to be in charge going forward.
And it looks like he is,
So, yeah, probably stepping down in the immediate sense.
Yeah.
If that's what we're dealing with as far as the immediate, parentage of that production.
Bit of a gray area.
Goes.
I understand. So Justice League 2, Zack Snyder says he has no plans to continue after Snyder Cut.
Mm-hmm.
He says, look, I never thought I'd be here doing this. I didn't think I'd be finishing Justice League. The truth is, and it's been widely reported, and I have no issue, this is an old movie. This is a years-old movie that I'm working on. The DC Universe has gone and branched off and done its own thing, and that's fine. As far as what I did, and as far as what my vision for what I wanted to do with these characters, and the journey I wanted them to go on, it's well known that I planned on more movies, 5 movies or something. But I'm busy. I've got a lot going on. Mm-hmm. Is it cool that the fans have so much faith in the trajectory? Yes, it's amazing, and I couldn't be happier. And I'm excited for them to see Justice League so they can really drink the entire elixir of Justice League. But would I continue? I have no plan to. But like I said, I didn't think I'd be here. So who knows? Dude, this is total negotiation tactic if you ask me. This is like, I got shit to do. I don't have time for this. I mean, maybe. I don't have any plans. Oh no. You guys got to make that shit work. That's just my take on it. That. I don't believe any of these people when they talk.
No. Yeah, I'm way past actually believing anyone when they use their mouths.
And I kind of feel like the only reason we report on this shit is to discredit it a little bit. And just be like, don't worry. If you're into it and enough people are into it, they'll make more.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't concern yourself with what Snyder's saying. Like, so many people are saying, Snyder's not making any more. He said it. No, he didn't.
Yeah, he didn't.
He said he had no plans.
As has been suggested. He's
leaving it open. Y'all.
It also has to do with, still, like, the reception is going to matter.
Absolutely. You can't just demand the shit and then not get HBO Max, not watch the 4-part whatever.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is the materialistic part of this. We're going to have to spend our money on this shit.
Yeah, we're going to have to spend our money on it. And look.
Do all the views and hit it on the same day. Like, the moment it's open, it's going to have 24-hour figures and 48-hour figures, and the whole fucking kit and caboodle is going to apply.
And
we're going to have to support this thing by actually watching it, and probably watching it a couple times, if I'm being honest.
And, even if Okay, I haven't seen anything to refute this, so I'm still considering it fact.
Shoot.
I saw SKU numbers. All right. Do you know what SKU numbers are? SKU. These are product numbers for McFarlane's Zack Snyder's Justice League figures. Do you have any belief that that shit's not going to be sitting on my shelf?
Oh, no. Oh, honey.
The only person they didn't name
just a matter of time.
The only person they didn't name as being a part of that collection was Wonder Woman. And it's because they already had her for Wonder Woman 84. They already released her ass. And you know what? All these people out here bitching, and I don't know who you are. You might not be listening to the show. You might be. If you're listening to the show and you collect these McFarlane figures and you've ever once complained, they make too many Batman figures. Well, guess what? When I go to my local Walmart, all they have in the toy section are McFarlane Wonder Woman 1984 figures. And that is the reason they don't make anything but Batman. Because Batman sells the shit. Batman is gone. Wonder Woman sits on the shelf. And if you want a Wonder Woman to go with your Zack Snyder Justice League, you better take your little ass down to Walmart and grab you a Wonder Woman 1984 figure, because they ain't making one for Zack Snyder's Justice League. Moving on. I'm serious. So many people are complaining. They only make Batman. This is DC Multiverse, not Batman Multiverse. No, it's Batman Multiverse. As long as you're not buying Superman figures, Wonder Woman figures, Green Lantern figures, Flash figures, Joker figures, it's going to be Batman.
Yeah.
It's going to be, because Batman sells.
And I've also seen personally, you have your money where your mouth is here. Like you've got all the figures. Yours are not just Batman and Superman. It's not.
No,
yeah, you've divested.
Yeah, and I don't have all of them. They're animated series figures, Batman included, were shit.
Sure.
And I ignored those. And they're, Detective and Action Comics 1000 figures were shit. They looked weird. And it was like their first things they put out. And they looked weird. They didn't look right. And I was like, I'm not supporting this. But I'll be damned, man. They came out with, freaking White Knight Batman, and he looked on point. They came out with White Knight Joker, on point. Rebirth Flash, on point. Man, they got Dawnbreaker. Dawnbreaker's on my freaking shelf right now. Red Death is on my shelf. Teen Titans Cyborg is on my shelf. 84, Wonder Woman 1984, Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman in the gold armor on my shelf. Arkham Knight, Batman, and Deathstroke on my shelf. Like, I've got a bunch of them. Because they look fantastic. They make fantastic figures. I'll purchase them. I'm sick. I've got a problem. I have real issues. I've got a Batman who laughs. Dude, I've got a Flashpoint Batman, Thomas Wayne, up here holding his guns. Yeah, that shit's great. You make something looks janky as hell, like they're animated series figures. They're animated Superman, Jon Stewart, and Batman. That shit's going to stay on the shelf. And I've gone to Walmart's. I've been to Walmart's. That shit's going for $15, $14. And I'm like, I'm still going, can we knock it down to $9?
Yeah, I can feel that.
But whatever. So, yeah, January 5th, Warner Brothers extended Walter Hamada, his deal as president, through 2023. And they said a bunch of nice things about him. Toby Emmerich, sucked his dick appropriately, as they do. Even Ann Sarnoff from Warner Media said Walter is an incredibly talented, well-respected executive, known by his colleagues and our filmmakers as a great collaborator. That's cool.
I mean, probably true, but...
and to that, Ray Fisher said, it's weird how these reactionary announcements from WB Pictures always forget to mention that Walter Hamada was working directly with Jeff Johns and Toby Emmerich on Shazam during Justice League reshoots. More soon. The thing, though, and I stand with Ray Fisher, whatever, but the thing, though, is how much did Walter know? I'm not saying he shouldn't have said, let's throw Joss under the bus and keep Jeff around. But Shazam was with New Line when Walter was in charge at New Line. So he was mainly working on Shazam. He wasn't really working on Justice League too much, from what I understand.
Yeah.
It all comes down to how much did he know, when did he know it, and how much power did he have at the time. So I know Ray's on a crusade, and that's fine. It's, And then we had the wrap. Humberto Gonzalez came out and said that, initially the report said that Fisher had stepped down. And then Fisher said, I strongly suggest that you guys amend this article. While I appreciate the reporter's undying desire to do WB Pictures and Walter Hamada's bidding, it is factually inaccurate. I did not publicly step down from anything. If WB Pictures has made the decision to remove me from The Flash rather than address in any way Walter Hamada tampering with a Justice League investigation, that's on them. So, Ray is saying that he tampered with the Justice League investigation, not necessarily that he was completely involved. Right. He says the idea of removing the role rather than recasting it is only being used to try to avoid public backlash. And I would agree with that.
Yeah, naturally.
He says the WB Pictures PR team has struggled to regain control of the narrative ever since they failed to bury me in the Justice League investigation with their September 4th hit piece, which unsurprisingly was written by the same reporter. Yeah, you can't trust Humberto. He's full of shit a lot of times. Yeah. There's, a lot of people on my timeline on Twitter have been posting screenshots of reports from Humberto. And you're like, yeah, that was wrong. Yeah, that was wrong. Yeah, that was a bunch of shit. Yes, okay, good job.
Yeah, some Scooby bullshit. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so, the Ray says the fact is the Justice League investigation led to Warner Media and its affiliates parting way with Joss Whedon. Jeff Johns will follow suit. Had Walter Hamada gotten his way, none of that would have been possible, and the cycle of abuse would have continued. My team and I are still in deep conversation with Warner Media regarding all of these matters, and Flash or no Flash, we fully intend to see this through. I'll keep you all posted in the meantime. Thank you for your continued support. And Adam B. Very of Variety posted this article where he says, according to 3 sources familiar with John's work with Warner Media, the company remains in a business with him. A Warner Brothers spokesperson confirmed that Johns continues to work as the creator and showrunner of Stargirl, part of executive producer Greg Berlanti's expansive suite of shows based on DC Comics properties, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And Ray Fisher, because the headline was Jeff Johns still working with Warner Media despite Ray Fisher's claim. Writer is leaving studio. And Ray responded to the article with, Sir, you understand full well the difference between will be following suit and has followed suit. While I found the recent Leonard Roberts piece you helped create to be insightful and important, this purposely misleading Variety headline and article is anything but. Overall, I still feel like Ray's got their number.
Yeah, overall, yeah.
Overall, there's a few bits where I'm just like, I can see where you could have done that differently, Ray.
Well, sure, but there's a lot. There's a lot going on here.
It is. Now, we know that Warner Brothers has royally screwed the pooch in terms of HBO Max and how the creatives are handling it.
Sure.
So, I mean, I don't know how they would have done any differently. I think they did the right thing, honestly, for themselves. They kind of forced the creatives into a position where they were like, all right, well, let's see what you got. But they couldn't do what they did before with Gal and Patty.
Oh, no.
But
it was over.
Bloomberg says, though, that Warner Brothers is altering their contracts with partners so they can guarantee payments and they won't be contingent on box office numbers. The deal is also said to increase odds for performance-based bonuses and pay cast and crew members based on revenue collected from HBO Max. Reports leaked yesterday from Warner Brothers negotiating with Legendary over the release of Godzilla vs. Kong. And that's one of those big movies that Legendary was pissed about. Dune is the other one. And, and I said this on Twitter, I'm sorry. Based on whatever his name is, the filmmaker who's doing Dune, I can't say his name. Mm-hmm. He did Blade Runner 2049. Based on what Dune is and his specific pedigree as a filmmaker, I am sure he would create a wonderful, beautiful film that no one would go watch. They have said, putting it out on HBO Max is going to make it to where there's not a sequel. There was never going to be a sequel. It's Dune. Nobody gives a shit about Dune except for people who like Dune, the old movie or the novel. And most of those people were people who just like the novel. Nobody knows Dune. You know, I watched the trailer for Dune and I thought, that looks badass. I'm going to watch that when it comes to a streaming service.
Yeah, they're gonna. I don't know. You like it if you like it,
and I'm okay with Dune. I like Dune, all right. Like, but I'm not gonna go to the theater for that. I wouldn't have in a normal situation.
Oh, no, I'm good.
And you know, it's just another 37-year cycle. You know, and I was responding on Twitter to an article where they were going after Warner Brothers. They were seeking legal action against Warner Brothers, and I'm like, HBO Max is your only chance at Dune being a success at all.
Yeah.
Because there was the, you know, 80s movie. There was the sci-fi original series. That was actually pretty good.
I haven't seen it.
I've got it on DVD. I've got the director's cut on DVD. And then what? I mean, you're looking at 37 more years between films before they, you know, haul that out and go, well, some people know Dune. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you have enough spice stored up to last you another 37 years.
Because it was never going to be like a
be.
captured audience kind of situation.
No. So anyway,
I say
Bloomberg's.
that, but those who loved it were always going to love it.
Yes. It's the same with Blade Runner. It's Blade Runner all over again.
Yeah.
It just is. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. I hate to be the one that brings, you know, a pragmatic approach to this. You know, going back to Dennis Miller, he has that great bit about, you know, how he's a pragmatist, and that really just means he's an asshole. But anyway, Bloomberg reports that Warner Brothers' new deal would give anyone their bonus at half of the box office haul normally needed. So if a movie needed to make $300 million for filmmakers and cast to receive a bonus, now it just needs to make 150. They also account for more theater closures in a stipulation dubbed the COVID-19 multiplier. And people will also benefit from on-demand and online sales. Internally, HBO Max is paying Warner Brother fees for each film getting a simultaneous premiere with the money shared among cast and crew, as well as those with performance incentives in their contracts.
Nice.
So they're doing a little something. So, unsurprisingly, and I'm annoyed by this, and I shouldn't be. I should be excited, but I'm not. Maybe I'll feel differently later. But Man of Steel, Zack Snyder tells Comic Book Debate that an IMAX remaster is not off the table. He says, I think it's worth a look. It probably needs a remaster. It's been a while since we've taken a look at it. BVS happened because we had noticed that there was a color mistake in one of the releases of Batman v Superman. We just looked into it, and I was like, hey, what happened? I guess it's a technical snafu, and I was like, this is a great opportunity for us to go back and fix it and do the IMAX release and let everybody see every bit of it, see the whole movie. So,
I mean, shit.
Whatever.
Okay. I'm happy to look into it, but damn, that movie looked really good.
Yeah, I mean, you know, changing the whole aspect ratio. Okay, that's fine. I mean, I guess I'll buy a copy of it.
I won't. I'll still be really happy with what I have.
Fair enough. I understand. This last piece of movie news I just thought was fun. Richard Donner, the beloved, the much worshipped DC director of Superman the movie and part of Superman 2.
Sure.
In a new interview with The Telegraph, talked about how when his movie came out, the Christian audience was not necessarily very pleased with him. The evangelical Christians sent him several letters. Like, he got a lot of letters. And death
That'll
threats.
happen, man.
He says they threatened my life. He says one woman wrote a letter saying, how dare I compare Brando to God and Christopher Reeve to Jesus? She said my blood would run in the streets. He says, I guess you make a good movie, somebody takes it as reality. So, you know, just to put things in perspective a little bit, not everything is like everybody always loved Donner and everyone always hated Snyder. No,
Sure.
Apparently, plenty of people didn't like Donner's Superman either.
Yeah. And they survived.
Well,
Except for the satanic panic.
yeah. Let's get to some TV.
Sure.
Let's celebrate. Doom Patrol Season 3 production is underway. Love Doom Patrol. Can't wait for more.
Yep.
That's the end of that.
That's all there is. Bring it.
I don't know what the source is here, but Green Lantern HBO Max series has revealed new details about Jessica Cruz and Simon Baz.
Mm-hmm.
The description for Jessica is as follows. Protecting the galaxy is hard enough. It's even tougher when you're the type of person who is uncomfortable leaving the apartment.
Nice.
Life forced Jessica to become self-reliant at a young age. She worked her way through school while taking care of her younger sister. She's bright, determined. Looking at her, you'd never know the struggle was going on inside of her. Jessica lives with a sometimes crippling anxiety disorder. She's been fighting fear longer than any of our other lanterns.
Oh, I like it.
I'm down. For Simon Baz, for as long as he can remember, Simon's loved the Green Lanterns. Using his innate charm and gift of gab, he works in Detroit as a vendor. However, business hasn't been good lately. In the wake of 9/11, America has grown distrustful of young Middle Eastern men. That's it. I mean, it seems about, 20 years late, but whatever. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, historically, we've still got some work to do there. It'll be okay.
No, I'm not saying we don't. I'm just saying, 9/11 is definitely kind of an old-ish topic to be like zeroed in on. But whatever. That's fine. Yeah. If they do it well, I'll be smitten story-wise either way. I'll be right there for it.
I don't know. I wouldn't make a bet, but I think there's a lot to cover there.
Mm-hmm. They could. This I'm not necessarily happy with.
Mm-hmm.
Black Mask has been confirmed to be one of season 2's big bads on Batwoman. And it looks like, Sophia is going to be one of the big problems. And then the False Face Society is going to be, with Black Mask, is going to be later on in the season. I am not a big Black Mask fan. I think that's probably one of the reasons I really liked Birds of Prey, because they made him interesting for once.
Sure.
That was my take on it.
Compelling as fuck.
I know that, we had listeners and we had people that we knew in our lives who were like, they'll never do Black Mask right. And I'm like, did you watch Under the Red Hood? He was as Black Mask as a Black Mask gets. Like, he was as comic book Black Mask as you could find.
Yeah.
As far as in live action, well, I mean, that was like the first time, right? I mean, except for maybe Gotham, but are we counting that?
Kind of.
Barely. So,
it's tangential.
I liked what Ewan McGregor did with it. I liked what Kathy Yan put forth. And, of course, lady who wrote the movie that I can't remember. Christina Hodson, is that her name?
It feels right. But
that does feel right.
Shit.
Whew. Did you watch this?
Been a minute on that one.
Yeah. Hopefully it's going to be better than normally Black Mask is. Let's make him another, flamboyant misogynist. I'll like him.
Yeah.
I'll think he's an interesting character again. Did you watch this Superman and Lois trailer? They called it a trailer.
Yeah, I felt like a teaser. No.
Yeah, where like Superman is like flying around some bad CGI.
Yeah,
lame.
Sorry, I'm actually excited about the show. I just wasn't super pumped about that little bit.
It looked like shit. You can say it, man. It looked stupid. It reminded me of when they put out that stupid teaser of Stargirl. You remember when they put the Stargirl teaser out with like the weird like cartoon multicolored lockers on the bad green screen? And everybody's like, is this what the show's going to look like? It looks like something from the freaking mid-90s Disney Channel. What are we doing?
That. But yes.
And the show didn't look anything like that. The show looked cinematic.
Yeah.
The show was damn near Larry Fong doing the cinematography. But this teaser, and so we can't judge what Superman and Lois is going to be from this teaser. I just don't understand why they're so desperate to get anything out that they're willing to put out such horse shit that makes people think the show is going to be crap.
It definitely did not come across that way for the average person, and I'm not saying the average person was wrong. Like, a lot of people love this.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't see anything but negativity.
Loved this trailer or teaser or whatever you want to call it.
Not any people that I saw, but I mean,
Yeah,
maybe.
no, that's how things work online.
Yeah, maybe. You've cultivated a timeline of unerring positivity. You've created.
I kind of hope that's true.
You have created a Pollyanna pocket for yourself.
I have not. And if even that was true, I would probably have brought it to ends myself. But no, I didn't find like this. Yeah, I saw plenty of hate for it, but I also saw a lot of people saying like, yeah, you know what, like it's super positive in its affect, and honestly, a lot of what it felt like was just people kind of excited by the fact that they were trying to go for something, which is fine, especially kind of in the days of, you know, if you're on that team trying to have to put out kind of a little bit of a fucked up, it's a bit of a fucked up assignment, is it not? Like,
yeah, it's messed up. I mean, they send you an audio of Tyler Hoechlin sounding as bored as he possibly could, reading something that's supposed to sound somewhat inspirational.
I think that will come across better than you're describing it, but okay.
To me, I woke up, I was like, oh, awesome. I was excited. I was like, this is going to be cool. This is a Superman Lois trailer. I'm looking forward to the show. I like
Hoechlin's Oh, no, this is not the trailer.
And then I looked at it.
Like specifically Tulloch, like Lois said, this is not the trailer for our show.
No, I mean, I would say that too if I saw it.
Yeah, no, that it's a couple days late saying that if you're talking about like day zero, but yeah, no, yeah, like this is not what everyone's standing behind. And it did look a little weird. Like, given the entire state of the DCCW before that trailer, yeah, it was a bit weird. It was off. It was weird. What are you gonna do?
It looked like it dribbled out of a sick dog's asshole. It was bad.
No, not that bad.
I would say worse.
That bad. It was the fever dream of someone who was a producer of that show.
That shit looked like 1980s Doctor Who when they first discovered CGI at the BBC. It was bad.
No. That was the trailer of a person who had watched all of those trailers that you're talking about.
So let's move on.
Who was originally employed in the mid-2000s.
The CW has officially confirmed.
We are going to be terribly, like, just so off with our speculations about the people who actually worked on those. But go ahead.
The CW has confirmed they are not ordering Green Arrow and the Canaries to series. Guggenheim said the decision was made back during the start of the pandemic, which I believe was the deciding factor. The actual announcement was made today, which he has explained. Yes, he's known for this long. And yes, he has been saying the whole time, I don't really know. That's not for me to say, because it's the CW's news to share.
Dude, it's Guggenheim.
But it's Guggenheim. This is another example of what we mean when we say that he's a liar. We don't believe Guggenheim. We don't believe any of these sons of bitches.
No,
bastards,
this is one of the
these
examples
are.
of when I actually believe him. When he says it's like new news to him, I actually believe that. Like, I believe they strung him along.
He knew. He just said it wasn't his news to share, so he didn't. He just kept saying, I don't know. He knew.
Yeah.
He said the decision was made back at the beginning of the pandemic.
They also probably sold it to him the entire time. It was like, well, I don't know, but probably this.
Look, I'm not even mad about the decision.
I think he's a little bit outside of what's happening in DC right now. Like,
I mean, he is, but he's working at HBO Max. He's not dealing with CW right now anyway.
Yeah, there's that.
Not for real.
But to the extent that he could probably say within reason, like, hey, dude, I was not in on this, but
it was, he knew, it just wasn't his decision.
I kind of knew. Yeah, it's kind of been dead.
How are you feeling about it?
I kind of couldn't say it.
Like, seriously though, how are you feeling about them not doing Green Arrow and the Canaries?
I'm okay.
Me too. I'm not a big fan. Even though she did better as Black Siren, I am not a Katie Cassidy fan. I do not. I don't care for her. I don't like McNamara, whatever her name is. I didn't like Mia Queen. I thought she overacted. I thought she was, quite honestly, kind of bad in the role for the most part. And we have enough as far as that's concerned. I don't need a bad show. And look, they're going to have to do the future, which is always problematic. They're going to have to come up with new forms of technology, which is going to cost more money. I want the show wrapped up in an episode of Legends. I am concerned about William, but
because he's not doing great, wherever the hell that's happening right now.
But in total honesty, even though I'm most consistently saying, give me all the things, I feel relief.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I wasn't super on board with that show to begin with.
I didn't need Arrow Beyond.
Yeah,
because that's totally what
I
it
feel
was.
you there.
That's totally what it was.
I mean, I can roll with you there.
Or as I told Brent on Fans Without Borders, I told him it was it was like the Arrow version of After MASH.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's like two characters from the show just didn't want it to end, so they kind of went over and did this thing.
There really are parts of it that sounded really interesting and good, but overall, I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm good with them staying in the future. Wrap it up on Legends, y'all. Wrap it up on Legends.
Just sorry.
I'm not.
Nah, it's okay to be sorry.
I'm not sorry about my feelings.
Oh, no. The feelings are there to be proud of or sorry for. Like, it's okay. To me, it's okay to be, like, sorry that I'm not enthusiastic about a project.
Yeah, I mean, in this age of superhero, as they put it in that article, a glute of DC superheroes, I feel like my dad grew up poor, when he was a kid, he was really poor. And, but now, he's a hoarder.
Sure.
And, that is equally detrimental in some ways. Mm-hmm. It's okay to say no to a thing. Mm-hmm. It's okay to not stop on the side of the road and pick up a bag full of old newspapers. Mm-hmm. We don't need the old bag of newspapers or the bag of old newspapers.
That sounded more foreign than it did, but
that we don't need the bag of old newspapers that is Green Arrow and the Canaries.
Yeah. But I kind of get it. Yeah.
Like, Dad, I love you. I'm sorry you grew up poor. And we didn't grow up rich by any stretch, but good God, you gotta stop picking up the bags full of newspapers.
Right. It's not like you're hoarding depression glass, which is worth like thousands per ounce or whatever the fuck it is.
Please stop referring to aluminum cans as your retirement, dude. Like, it's weird.
You've got expired dry oatmeal. Do you know how hard that is to actually have?
I could use it as some kind of quickcrete. No, you can't, Dad. Stop. Just stop.
Yeah.
I hope everyone understands how quickly I'm coming up with this stuff because it's not fake. It is real.
This is my actual life.
Speaking of Legends of Tomorrow, they have added Aaliyah O'Brien in a mysterious role. She'll play a character called Kayla, a fearsome warrior with a high body count and low patience for human incompetence. She'll be put through her paces working with and against the Legends, as she's certainly not used to messing anything up, much less for the better.
I'm sure I'll like her, but she'll be playing a character on Legends.
Mm-hmm. No telling what that'll bring.
Disruption. And eventually they'll learn to accept her. And then afterwards, she'll learn to accept them and all of their flaws.
And by the time I actually start liking her, she'll leave the show.
That's the variable that I'm willing to say is still going to be a variable.
I'll say this,
I understand the format of the show is, some outsiders, we have to learn to accept them. I'm good with that.
I'll say this, though. I liked Zari the whole last time.
she was kind of a bad bitch the entire time. So that makes sense.
That's like teenage heartthrob shit for me. Like, she was like a young, hot version of like freaking B. Arthur.
It's possibly the...
She had that comedic timing, that demeanor.
No, she did. Yeah, she had a dismissive demeanor.
And I say it in the past tense.
Short of
She's
that,
still in the
I
show,
have
but
no
she's playing a
fucking
different
idea how to
version.
follow you here.
She's playing a different version of her character, and she's a little different. She's not really quite that anymore. But you know,
because in season 3, B played a demigod controlling water.
Sure.
You only
Golden
ever
Girls
saw
was
it
lit,
because
y'all.
she just went to the kitchen and turned on the tap.
Yeah, Golden Girls was lit, y'all. Y'all don't remember.
You don't even know.
Thank you for being a friend.
Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
So they're making a Justice Society animated film. Mm-hmm. It's called World War II. Justice Society World War II.
Of course.
They announced the cast on Thursday. Hollywood Reporter did. Matt Bomer, or Bomer, however you say his name. You know, it's a Negative Man from Doom Patrol.
Sure.
And Stana Katic, I don't know her. They'll be voicing the Flash, but one that is specifically not Jay Garrick, and Katic will be Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. The rest of the voice cast for the Justice Society includes Alicia Rotaro as Black Canary, Chris Diamantopoulos as Steve Trevor, Omid Abtahi as Liam McIntyre as Aquaman, Ashley Lathrop as Iris West, Jeffrey Arend as Charles Halstead / advisor, Keith Ferguson as Dr. Fate, and Darren DePaul as Roosevelt. So
I'm just curious.
I don't know.
Did you expect any of that to mean anything to me?
Well, maybe, because you know voice actors more than I do.
Only occasionally.
And I'll say generally, when I read these lists off, you will go, oh, and you'll be really excited about, some person. And I'll be like,
all right.
Who did they play? And then you'll tell me, oh, it was Bender's third cousin on Futurama. And I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. I remember that shit. So yeah, that's generally why I give you those cast lists, because you usually have like one or two people on the cast that you are genuinely excited about and about. So
yeah,
I'm sorry, I failed you this time.
No,
or you failed me in some way. I guess
20-year-old voice actors. I have nothing to contribute there. I mean, really.
Yeah. It says while this movie takes place in World War II, it looks like there will be some element of time travel involved. There are two Flash characters. They assume that there's going to be a Barry Allen involved.
That's a good bet.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Bruce Timm isn't involved. It's directed by Jeff Wamester, who directed Marvel's animated Guardian of the Galaxy show. And the script was by Megan Fitzmartin and Jeremy Adams. I don't know any of these people, but, no Bruce Timm, no Paul Dini, none of those people. So we can guess that none of these people will have protruding nipples.
Considerably less fucking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And we can move right on over to fan or listener feedback. I was told we shouldn't say fan feedback because it sounds like we're being egotistical. I'm sorry. Listener feedback. Mm-hmm. Chris Balga of the fantastic podcast, World's Finest True Believers, and I have no problem saying I'm a fan of that show, not just a listener, says, what are your... I'm such a tool. What are your opinions? What are your opinions on the future of the DCCW? Black Lightning and Supergirl in this season. It appears Flash is on life support, with the last few years being just awful, and Legends might be the last of the old guard to hang on. Stargirl appears to now be the top show, with the jury out on Batwoman now. Did you have some kind of thing you want to bring up? I can't remember for this. You had ratings numbers or something.
Just that the Flash is not like on its last gasp.
Creatively, I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, possibly, but I think creatively it was super stilted by the last season. I mean,
it has gotten worse every year, pandemic or no.
I mean, we say that, but
it's all subjective. We will admit that.
I mean, the viewers are still relatively there. That's kind of the thing about viewers, though, is it's a war of attrition. You can get as many as you want to up front, and they're all just going to vanish.
They will. That's true of any show, except for Seinfeld or MASH. No, not even then. No. Seinfeld was a miracle show. That's one of those things. Like syndication just did nothing but build that audience. Like as the show went on.
Syndication's different from like the attrition of the first viewing. Like,
well, right, but I'm saying like while the show was in first run, it was gaining viewers, like steamrolling viewers, like, and syndication was actually bringing more people to watch the new episodes. Like it was gaining an audience as it went.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there was plenty on the upside there.
But most shows don't do that by any stretch. Most shows lose people until it goes away.
All right, real quick, I'm going to go over 5 shows.
Sure.
All right, so Supergirl. And I'm just going over the last seasons. 1.5 to 1.07 million viewers. Black Lightning 1.89 to 0.89 to 0.547. Legends 1.35, and they did a dramatic drop to 0.716 in the second episode, and then 0.725 in the bottom, and then Flash like 1.6 to 1.076. So across several shows, there's like a couple $100,000 person drop off. But point being, it's not that big a drop off. They all experience the same. DC's bottom viewership for like last episode before the pandemic ended was 0.725. Supergirl was like 1.074. Black Lightning 0.547, the lowest so far. Flash is 1.076. It's the highest of all of them, frankly. So I don't like it's not on its last leg by any stretch.
Yeah, I don't think it
even
is.
Comparing it to Stargirl, like 1.22 to start with, and 0.860, like normal attrition. Nothing that's the show's fault as far as the attrition rate, but yeah, like it's not standout. It's not saving the network. It's pretty par for the course.
Yeah, the ratings don't matter also as much anymore because of, the +7 numbers, the streaming numbers. We all know this. But, I think creatively speaking, yes, The Flash has struggled in the last few years. I've been less interested in it. The last year was a shit show, in my opinion. The only thing last year had going for it was Crisis on Infinite Earths. And I think Crisis on Infinite Earths was the coolest thing they could have done, but also like the biggest detriment to the Arrowverse, because it's a little like I had my cuddle, and now I just want to go to sleep. I don't care what else they put out. That's kind of how I'm feeling. Supergirl's ending. I'm fine with that. We have no indication that Supergirl is ending because of ratings. We have every reason to believe that it's ending because Melissa Benoist wants to spend time with her kid. Black Lightning is ending, and we have every reason to believe that it's a combination of the actress playing Jen leaving and them wanting to, evolve the show, them just getting tired of writing that particular storyline and wanting to evolve it into the Painkiller storyline.
Yeah.
So while Black Lightning is ending, we're getting Painkiller starting. While Supergirl is ending, we're getting Superman and Lois. And we're also getting Wonder Girl instead of Green Arrow and the Canaries. God, ever since it got canceled or officially canceled, it's harder for me to remember the damn name of it every time I reference it.
Right.
It's fading from my memory. The future is what I make it. The future is not written.
No, there's
still
a
got that
physical
woman.
ways. All right. So it takes a lot to actually make one of these shows, and one of them coming or going is it has on the going side a lot more to do with the fact that, dude, these are hard to make and they are very taxing, and you literally have to move to another country to make them in some capacities if you're an American citizen, or even if you're not, you're just dislocated to Vancouver for 7 to 9 months. It's taxing. So when they're not a thing you can make anymore, it kind of makes sense to me. But when they're replaced by other shows that like Superman Lois are tangential and make sense and could be a lot of fun, all by themselves, and we'll just have to watch the actual episode and see. Yeah, that makes sense too. Why would you not keep this formula going, even though you're refining it and finding ways where it's less you don't hear about some of the actors that have been primary. You don't hear Melissa Benoist talk about Vancouver the same way Tom Welling does, because it was sloppy earlier on and terrible, and honestly just it was the worst. When he talks about it and you can hear the shiver in his spine when he talks about it. Yeah, that's different. Melissa had her own traumas, but a different experience.
Mm-hmm.
And when you want to not be away from your family for 9 months a year, dude, fuck, I get it.
Yeah, and we don't know what's going to happen with Stargirl if Jeff Johns gets ousted. We don't know, Here's the thing, like I've said before, like I've talked about before. If Jeff Johns leaves and the show goes to shit or gets worse in any capacity, I'm sorry. But I would rather it get worse and Jeff Johns get kicked off. Now, that said, Flash went downhill dramatically when Andrew Kreisberg left. It just did. That said, good riddance,
Yeah.
So, I think Flash...
Some people are good at things and bad at others.
Yes. Good at stories. Bad at not creeping out and, subordinates and shit,
There you go. Yeah.
Don't pull your dick out. Don't hire people because you like their titties in a show. That's weird. That's weird, man.
Those bad attributes will not be overlooked, hopefully, if you're just actually good at writing something.
Yeah. Or maybe just, if the titties were that much of a factor, don't tell your coworkers.
They're always the keeping it to yourself.
Melissa Benoist is a good actress. It wasn't like people were going, I can't believe he hired her. She's a terrible actress. Oh, I bet he only liked her titties in that show. She's pretty good, honestly. Yeah. You could have gotten away with that. You didn't have to tell them, The thing about Melissa is...
You remember when the titties...
The sentence that is the fall of man. Do you remember the titties? Do you remember when the titties?
No exaggeration. Wars have been fought.
I can only imagine he said that to someone.
A good reflection on us.
And he seems like an awkward dude anyway. Like every interview I've ever seen with Andrew Kreisberg, he seems like an awkward creeper sort.
A little bit.
He just seems like the kind of guy who would drag someone aside and be like, the reason I hired her or pushed for her was because in that scene and the blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what show it was. Apparently she had titties in a show.
Homeland, I believe.
Oh, well, damn. Well, I guess the creeper on this show has been ousted.
No. And in Supergirl, her and Alex watch Homeland.
Okay.
And I just thought it was like a really brave way of addressing the fact that she had been topless in that show.
Just owning it.
Yeah.
I don't understand why topless is such a big deal anyway. I just legitimately don't. Like, nipples are nipples are nipples. You know, I don't give a shit. Who cares? All right. So my opinion on the future of the DCCW is if they keep going, which I suspect they will, based on every announcement they've had.
It's like fine. 35% of their income at this point. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere, I don't think. But, you know, does my personal interest in it, has it diminished? Yes. But I'm in a weird place right now. Because of what's going on with Warner Brothers and Warner Media and the Ray Fisher thing and all the Patty Jenkins shit and not particularly caring about Wonder Woman 1984 very much, I'm in a weird place where I'm kind of down on all of it a little bit. And I'm sure that'll change.
Right.
You know, and I have numerous times over the 5 years we've been doing this show, you know, things get I start to feel defeated.
Sure.
Because, you know, Warner Brothers and DC, they don't have to do what Marvel does. But, you know, I would like something a little more unified. And whether they do it by multiverse, hook or crook, whatever, but I want them to get their shit together, and I want them to treat their people right. And I don't want every freaking release to be mired in controversy.
Well, sure.
I would like to be able to enjoy a thing without sitting there thinking that person was, you know, treated poorly because the producer liked their titties. That person was treated poorly because they're black and they had their skin lightened. You know, I'm tired of that shit. I want them to treat people like they should be treated, you know, and it feels like we're a long way from that right at this point. So my problems with this DCCW are just my problems with Warner Brothers right now. I think overall.
I mean, that's fair. And, you know, as the last few years have kind of finally brought to fruition, it's not necessarily just a problem here. It's a problem.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, but yeah, I try to find my happiness. I'm really excited about Doom Patrol. I'm really excited about season 3 of Harley Quinn, which brings us to the next question. J. Scotty St. Clair over on Twitter says, although I have seen / heard many gushing about the Harley Quinn animated series, nothing could have quite prepared me for the absolute refreshing revelation that it is. Kudos to Kuoko. Which other unconventional DC characters lend themselves to an adult animated comedy? Well, yeah, first of all, Harley Quinn is fantastic.
Yeah, the kudos are in order.
Oh, my Lord. It's one of my favorite things that DC has released in the last several years.
That's gorgeous.
Fantastic. As for your answer, Ambush Bug.
Yeah, Ambush Bug. That's Space where I was going to.
Space Cabbie comes to mind pretty quickly. Can you imagine a Plastic Man? An adult Plastic Man show? I think you can, based on that devious laugh.
Yeah.
Remember the Grant Morrison JLA comics? Grant Morrison and I think Mark Waid did it too. Where where Plastic Man just kept pretending to be different objects, like dresses and shit. He was Big Barda's dress. Mm-hmm. And she realizes her tight red dress has a yellow stripe down the side.
That's good.
And then Wonder Woman finds that there's a lamp in her hotel room that's the Plastic Man's colors. Like, you perverted piece of shit. An adult themed Plastic Man could be really fun.
I want to say like a Plastic Man where he's always part of the heist, but in some ways he like calls out the actual the robbers, and in some ways protects them depending on the depravity of their actions.
Yeah. And I think I would want to see the whole, I don't want to just kind of pop in, he's Plastic Man already. I'd want to see the origin story, and then how he becomes Plastic Man and how he uses that for bad at first and then shifts it and becomes a good guy. And by the end of the show, he is even as a good guy, he is answering to people who don't have the power he does, but he has very little self-confidence. And by the end of the show, it would really deal with him understanding that he's the most powerful mother effer in the DC universe and could kill everybody, everybody.
Yeah. That's a real thing too.
Yeah. So
I keep imagining a scene where somebody's about to rob a counter, and they pull it up, and somebody's like, "Why is this necklace blinking at me?"
Mm-hmm.
And have to kind of sort out like, "Oh no, sorry, that was ill.
Yeah. But you got to have like
And
the
it was
heart
like,
too.
you haven't hurt anybody yet. You can surrender. No one's the worse for wear. It's okay.
Right. But you got to have the heart too. So you've got to have you got to show him being a Justice League member, trying to turn the right leaf, and then like his failed relationship, but ultimately he's got to choose between being the most badass, super powered creature in the galaxy or on Earth or whatever, and just being a good dad.
Well, sure.
And yeah, man, I'm down for that. I think I pitched myself and bought my own show. Like, if only I had the money to do it. And also, of course, the rote response: Booster and Blue Beetle, always and forever. Booster and Blue Beetle.
Sure, obviously.
I always want to see them in whatever medium you got. Hey Dave, what kind of animated series would you like? Booster and Blue Beetle. What kind of animated adult show would you like? Booster and Blue Beetle. What kind of live action movie would you like? Booster and Blue Beetle. How about a TV show? Booster, Blue Beetle.
What are you going for here, Dave? Think the old B&B?
I grew up on buddy cop movies. What do you want?
Yeah, that's fair.
I want Dumb and Dumber and Justice League. That's what I want.
So it's fair. Actually, that would actually be kind of fun. Is rated R, but it's entirely from like Crypto's perspective. Just literally cussing everyone out the entire time. Mm-hmm. But every time it starts to turn to like a curse word, it goes out of like the Crypto first person perspective to just beep, 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 blah, blah, beep, beep, beep.
See, now I want Crypto to have his own adventures, but every time he's like, every once in a while, like any interaction he has with the human world, he looks over and what we see is like Flash and Superman shaking hands after a job well done. What Crypto sees is them having sex doggy style. Because he just thinks all humans are ever. You know how like humans when they see two dogs interacting, when they see two humans interacting, or when humans see two dogs interacting, they're just like, oh, you're about to hump something. Stop smelling that. That's dirty. I want the opposite to be true. Where it's like the dogs just see two humans shaking hands and they're like,
oh, those poor humans.
All right, we got one more piece of feedback. Wait, no, we don't. We got more. Let's get to some of this. I forgot about this. I'm a piece of shit.
Again.
Apologize. I'm apologizing. I did mean to, Dr. Steve, wonderful, beautiful Dr. Steve sent us this article that said that Harry Lennox confirms he's Martian Manhunter in the Snyder Cut. He says, I'm idiotically pumped for this. I read my first DC Comics 55 years ago, and seeing these characters come to life never gets old for me. I'm excited about that too. Love to see Harry Lennox come for the Snyder Cut. I assumed he was, but it's nice to see that confirmation.
Oh yeah, no, the solidification is fantastic.
Thanks for sending that to us, Doc. Now, let's see. Sorry, I lost my place here. You know how Twitter does the thing.
Yep.
You know what they do.
It's rough.
Okay. Brandon Bayham on Twitter for Wonder Woman 1984 says, oh boy, did I have mixed feelings on this one. I watched with my 6-year-old daughter and she loved it, which is great. I was lightly disappointed at first, but eventually found myself feeling exactly how David C. Robertson felt about it. The end credit scene was a major letdown.
See, I can live with the letdown of the movie, but end credit, I'm okay with the end credit.
It was just there. It didn't, I've seen a lot of people saying it's setting up the Amazon series, and I guess maybe. But
I'm not sure about that.
I don't know about that either. It didn't seem necessarily pertinent to anything. But maybe I'm wrong. Who knows?
I do think you have to accept that fan service is a thing that A, will happen, and B, you have to be okay with. And if all that's the case, then C, I was okay with the fan service here.
Yeah, I don't think it's setting up necessarily anything.
I'm not sure it'll ever show up again.
I don't need it to.
I enjoyed the little nod.
Yeah. Nerdy-tastic says, my review of Wonder Woman 1984. I saw the first movie multiple times in the theater. I own it on Blu-ray. I saw Wonder Woman 1984 once, and I think I'm good. It is a missed opportunity and has quite a few questionable ethics. I don't think they thought through well. And the fight and flight scenes were kind of bad, especially the running in the desert. It looked like she was on a treadmill.
Yeah, that part was bad.
Yeah, it was.
It looked bad.
She says, I think I just liked her beating up bad guys. But to go from World War I to the mall, what was she doing in World War II? When did she go back to Paradise Island to get the golden armor? What was she doing from the 1900s to the 1980s? Well, to be fair, I don't think she went back to Paradise Island necessarily to get the armor. I think they just found it because she was, doing the archaeology gig.
You can make an argument that it makes it to her, even if she kind of subverts it.
Mm-hmm.
Still, what is it doing chilling there? That was a little bit plot convenient, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Again, some of the same conceptual problems you have are really valid.
Yeah. Matthew Salvatore says, great review, guys. I find my opinion to fall in between you both. I didn't love it or hate it. To be honest, I was just kind of whelmed by it. Gal continues to be amazing. Action was a little meh. I didn't like the Make-A-Wish plot. Lord wasn't for me. I liked Cheetah. Just Josh and Witya says, listening to the 1984 cast, is it just not the movie you wanted to see? I mean, come on. Ha. No, it wasn't.
I mean,
I thought it was pretty clear on that.
Yeah, I was mostly... I have my problems, but mostly okay with what I saw.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. That's what's so confusing to me is like, you liked it a lot more than I did, but the show is given the idea, or is, the reputation for our show is we didn't like it.
Yeah,
I didn't like it. I mean, you liked it. I didn't.
My major problems are, I think the body swapping thing was a huge misstep, and I would have preferred a little less leaning in on the Hope's Beach kind of ending. But other than that, I was pretty happy with a lot of the beats by themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, if you'd handed me like 12 pages of this movie and said to get it shot, I'd have been pretty happy with what I did.
Mm-hmm. My most important note that I have about any of this, is you have a difference of opinion. And that's fine. I'm not upset with you about it. I don't hate you. I'm not blocking you. We're not ending the show.
I've blocked you on every channel we have.
I wouldn't blame you. I have some very biased hot takes.
I made up extra outlets and blocked you there.
No, it's
You're
okay to disagree.
On Schmalker Blush and Flappy to Flip. You ever show up there, you're blocked.
That's fine. If I ever travel to a Rick and Morty universe where those things are real, I will be very upset.
Well, now I'm scared because that was the only way I got there.
We have one more piece of
Thought
feedback.
it was safe.
Never. Not from me. We have one more piece of feedback, and I have no response to it other than just to laugh, because that's what I did when I listened to it. It is a voicemail from our friend Nathan, Wobbly Boots 85, and he agrees with me on Wonder Woman 1984. So I don't have anything to really contribute. I've said my piece. Do you have anything, Jason? Did you even listen to it yet?
Oh, I did, and
Okay.
nope, I've got. That sounds reasonable. Disagree on a couple points, but yeah, I get it, man. I get it.
Yeah. So we're gonna leave you with that, and until next time, keep some DC on your screen and enjoy this message, this editorial, we shall say, from Nathan Wobbly Boots 85.
Hey, Jason. Nathan here, Wobbly Boots 85. Long time, no talk. I just would like to say that I could not agree more with Dave on WW84. In my book, oh God, what a suckfest. Just super suckety. Ugh. Just like a fucking, the whole movie was just like a bag of smashed buttholes with all the good ones picked out. In my humble opinion, if you like the movie, that's great, but what a just downgrade from that first one. And I hope she learns how to do screenwriting better. or doesn't let anybody else tamper with her idea. Either way, whatever, execution, all of it, I see could have been much better, like the first one. But I just wanted to call it that. I really agreed with Dave, and I was shocked at how much venom he spit towards it, and I just wanted to say high five. All right, guys, keep up the good work, and keep some DC on your screen.
Our intro music is by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Galactic Engineers of Magnetic Sounds, or GEMS, can be found on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. Visit DCOnScreen.com to find our Patreon, merch, contact information, and every episode of the show for free, including crossovers we've done with other podcasts. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. For more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, vlogs, parodies, and our improvised web series Hey Guy, visit maladjusted.tv.